So a couple of logistic things. We're starting right now. We're gonna go to the first home, and our timing we're doing just fine. We're gonna be there about 10 o'clock, 10:10. We're gonna go to the first home, and it's, I'll describe it to you. John is gonna meet us there. You remember John from yesterday, last night. John will meet us there. Today it's all about the context. So we learned about care homes, we talked about that, and you have something in your mind of what it is. So now you're gonna get to go inside and behind the scenes. So you're gonna get to meet the managers, the caregivers, and then the residents. You're gonna get a feel for things. So a couple of ground rules. Number one, no pictures of people, meaning the residents and so on, because they haven't given you permission for that. You're more than welcome to take pictures of empty rooms, bathrooms, all that kind of stuff, inside, outside. In the first house, we're going to stop in the front. I'm going to give you some input, and then we're going to walk through the house, and then we're going to go out in the backyard. And in the backyard, we can talk freely out there. And then we'll come back into the house. You can see anything else you want to see. But while we're in the home, the things that I want you to avoid talking about is just be very respectful. It's a home. These are elderly people. They have no idea who you are. They're wondering what the heck is going on. On the other hand, some of them will be very happy to see people, and they'll be very happy to have you there, and so on. So it'll be one to the other. Now, you won't hear any of that. It's just that's the experience that they have when you think about it. So don't talk anything about money or prices or cost, because some are paying one thing, some are paying another. That's not important for them to know, but anything about money, talk to me about quietly outside, that kind of thing. Operationally, like what about this, what about that? Obviously, I'm going to point out things. John will point out things. But if you have questions on that, please feel free, and we'll do it. Just understand that it is a home, it's an operating business, so just treat that with that mindset, if you would. So once we go through the first home, and the reason why I'm taking you in this order is the first home is kind of what I would call a level 3. So it's not level 1, it's not level 5, it's kind of a level 3. And kind of on the lower end of a level 3 in my mind. So Jody has been into different homes, and we have her perspective and so on. So it's a nice home, but it's not the top, it's not the bottom, it's kind of right there. So we're going to Choya. So Adagio Gardens on a 3. Good, perfect. So that's what I would say too. If I had them, I would take you to the dregs, right? I would start with, let's go to the lowest of the low, let's start here. I don't have that, I can't show that to you. The other thing is my realtor is going to meet us after we see the third home of mine. My realtor is going to meet us, and then he's going to have some homes for us to see. So I know one of the homes is vacant. It was a care home, so we're going to be able to go in and see it and what we would do and not do and so on. Then we're going to see what else happens, because with a class of this size, going into somebody's business and saying, hey, we're here looking to buy your business, can be very disruptive. So whenever we contact owners and say, we'd like to see your house, great. Number one, they typically have you sign an NDA, so non-disclosure agreement, which is perfectly fine. They just don't want you to tell the world about their business and so on. So it's okay to sign that, but you don't want to sign anything that's a non-compete, saying I can't do it in this area or within a 100-mile radius. They couldn't enforce it, but there's no reason to sign it. So even if they gave you an NDA that has language of a non-compete, what could you do to make it your contract? Scratch it out, initial it, date it, now you can't compete, okay? Just so you know, you can do that. So the first home that we see, again, is going to be level 3, and then we're going to go to a level 4, then we'll go to a level 5. And at that point, it'll be about 1 o'clock, God willing, our timing will be right on. Then we're going to go have a nice lunch in an area where you can choose the restaurant. You're on your own, but there's about 4 different choices, from Greek to healthy salads to pizza to burgers, and all good stuff, not chain stuff, so it's really good. So we'll go there and we'll have a nice lunch, and then when we're done, then we're going to go from there to see some of the homes that I mentioned that Dave has arranged for us. So we'll see Dave, my realtor, what he's come up with us for us to see. So going in with a large group to somebody else's home, that's really complicated to do. So this is an experience that I can provide because it's my home and I can open the door. Even though I forgot all the keys, they're back in the car, but we'll get in. I know where the lock boxes are.
Thanks,
I forgot them there. Like I always assume I have my car with me, so everything I have is in there. Those of you who drove with me yesterday, if you looked in the trunk, it's like, you know, do you remember that TV show called Let's Make a Deal? You look in your purse for bobby pins and boiled eggs. It's probably in my trunk. Okay, that's about it. It's all there. So when we go in, the things that I want you to be looking for, you'll notice on the first home when we walk in, on the right-hand side, there's going to be all the things that you have to have posted. So license for the house, John's license, the rules of the house. If somebody has a question in the house, who do they call? All those things have to be posted in your home, so you'll notice that. You'll notice when you walk in on the left-hand side, it'll be the family room. And in the family room, you're going to see some chairs, and there's a TV. Now, you don't see the TV, but they're going to be sitting in the chairs looking at the TV, and you're going to walk in, and there'll probably be some family members there and so on. It's all good, it's all perfectly fine, but I just want you to know this is kind of the quietest house in the kind of the lowest end right here. So I want to get your gut reaction when you go in, when we're in the backyard, what you think, what you feel. Then the caregivers, you'll notice they're doing their thing, taking care of the residents, whatever that means at that moment in time. This is kind of a quiet time because breakfast just happened, lunch is coming in a couple of hours, so it's right in between. So there could be some interaction there. So feel free to say hello to the caregivers. I don't know exactly who's working there today, but John will let us know. So we'll walk through, we'll see some of the house. I'll give you an idea of some of the renovation that was done. When we go in the backyard, feel free to ask me a bunch of questions there. Then we'll walk through again, and we'll go out the front, then we'll go on to the next home. So any questions that anybody has for me right now? All right, good. So now, feel free to talk amongst yourselves, and we'll be there in about 10-15 minutes. Good. Okay, everybody. We're here. Now, you see the sign in the front right there. Everybody see the sign? I told you a sign like that will save you lots and lots of money. So if you can get a sign, or if you have a sign, it's really valuable, okay? That sign was actually here when I bought this as a running existing assisted living facility. Licensed for 10, been in operation for about 7 or 8 years prior to me getting it. So the sign was there, but the sign was about 10 feet closer to the road. So it was interesting because soon after I got the business, I get a letter from the state saying, last final notice, you gotta get rid of your sign. Like, what do you mean final notice? I never got the first one. What are you talking final here? And so I call them up and they're like, well, they put the sign up with a permit in 2009, but they never closed out the permit. So you have to, you know, come in. So I went in to talk to them. I said, well, what's the issue? They said, well, the sign itself is, you know, it never got closed out, and it's now X number of years later, and the sign, it's too close to the road. So I said, well, what do you mean it's too close? What do you need to do? So they said, well, here's what you have to do. So I said, so if I move it, can I just close it out? And they said, well, I think you're going to have to apply for a new sign permit, and, you know, we don't allow signs in a residential area anymore, and I'm like, well, see what you can do and we'll check on it. So literally, I just called my handyman and I said, you know, come dig the sign up, move it back closer to the driveway right here, because I know here's the line and so on. So I then called the guy back at the city and I said, so what'd you find out? He said, well, I drove by the other day and I see that the sign is moved. And I said, yes. He said, well, you know, you moved the sign, it looks okay now. Why don't we just close out the permit the way it is? And I said, oh, thank you. So you'll notice there's the little permit from the sign kind of taped to the sign on this side right here. And notice how bad the sign is, meaning the sign was pretty good, but I just went ahead and put, you know, foil numbers to get my numbers on there, and they're still there. So I've got to fix that at some point, but having the sign, very, very beneficial. So now as you notice the house itself, just a plain Jane kind of a house. Over on the right-hand side, there used to be a garage there, I'm assuming. It's 4,000 plus square feet. So it doesn't look that big, but it is that big. When we go inside, to the right-hand side where this little area is right here that sticks out behind the fountain, there's 2 private rooms right there. When you go down the hall, there's now 1, 2, 3 more bedrooms on the right-hand side. There's another one right up in the front. So on this right-hand side of the house is actually 6 bedrooms. On the left-hand side is another 1, 2, 3 bedrooms, and then in the back is the office, quote unquote. So you'll see all of that. The kitchen itself is fairly small. I'd love to redo it, love to raise the ceiling to the rafters. It's just, you can't shut down the business and do that. It's just not practical. So, as I said, when we got it, when people moved out, we'd go in and renovate. So 1 room at a time. It takes a lot longer that way, but you got to do what you got to do. And then you're incurring the fees of not only the renovation, but also the vacancy at that point and so on. So we got it all done. We ended up putting about $30,000 into the renovation. So price-wise and so on. We bought the house and the business for $500,000. So $500,000 for the house and the business. And I say it that way because that's how I negotiated it. $500,000 for the real estate and the business combined. Because if I did it by the real estate and then the business separately, negotiating it that way, the business is worth a lot more than what I was going to end up paying for it. The house appraised for $450. So the house appraised for $450. That means the business was only $50. In the business, they had security deposits and they had already collected rent from people, so it was about a $25,000 credit. And that's one of those real estate things that a lot of people who don't do real estate don't understand. If there's security deposits, you get those as a credit on your side of the closing statement. If you close on the 3rd of the month and everybody paid their rent on the 1st of the month, you're getting virtually the entire month's worth of rent credited to you. So you can come up with a 10% down payment with no money out of your own pocket just by those two things if you do it properly. Close on the 3rd, security deposits, it comes to you as a credit on the closing statement. So the business was $50, but I got a credit for $25, which means the business cost me about $25,000. So the business was already full, so they had 10 people in there. The house was full. She was very happy about that. They were paying an average of about $2,400 a month for, if we average it out by 10. So my goal was to get it to $3,000 a month. So we're now at $3,000, $3,100 per person on average. If you look around in this neighborhood, this is not, it's a fine neighborhood. What I love about it, it's a very relatively busy street. We have a sign, you got a nice circular drive. When you go in, you'll see private bedrooms. Not everybody has a private bathroom. There's only 3 rooms with private bathrooms, then there are 3 shared bathrooms. The kitchen is small by any standard. It's small, but it's adequate. It's not like we're cooking Thanksgiving meals regularly. So it's very adequate. We'll go through. You'll notice in the front as you walk up from a curb appeal standpoint, one of the things that was between those 2 parts of the house that jut out, there was this overhang. I don't see anybody else who has it, but just wood planks. And it was like rotted wood. It was like not only an eyesore, but it was ready to fall on people's heads. So one of the first things I did was just, let's take it all out. Painted the house. That made it look a lot better. You notice around here, there's all kinds of palm trees. You'll see over here on the other yard, these palms. Well, that one over there on the left, that palm right there, you can take a seed and it'll grow to that in a pretty short period of time. I mean, it's amazing. So the parents of the people who own this house, who's a nice old Romanian gentleman who just loved to putsy around, had planted like what seemed like 1,000, but it was probably about 50 of those things. And it's like growing up like a jungle in here. And those leaves on there are like swords, you know, so they're on the walk, they're encroaching, and I'm like, let's get this stuff out of here. So his little seedlings had turned into death trap. So took all that out, you know, scraped this clean, just put in some basic landscaping right here. So it looks a lot nicer than it did. You'll also notice the bright flowers right there. You can grow them like that, but it's a lot of maintenance. Just get those ones artificial. They look great. Don't have to water them. Every year replace them because they fade out. So it looks nice. In the backyard, you'll see a pool, and initially, it's such a nice pool. I kept it clean, I kept it everything, and I'm like, this is insane, because you're spending, I can't take it out, by the way, like I told you I should, because on the left-hand side, it's a very narrow area. Can't get a truck back there to excavate. On the neighbor, I literally have to go through his area next to his house, break through the wall, go across the lawn, take out the pool, then rebuild it all. So it's like instead, we just emptied the pool. So it's just empty, it's sitting there, the gates are locked. So it doesn't look really nice, but it's a beautiful pool. The backyard itself, there was a gazebo out there that the gentleman had built from pretty much scrap from any place he could have found. So it just looked like, you know, a Haitian refugee camp. That's what it looked like to me. So I tore it out and I put up a $129 gazebo that's a portable thing. So that was sitting out there, and last windstorms we had, it kind of got shredded a little bit. So you'll see it out there and it needs to be replaced. But I always wait for things to go on sale. So that gazebo that I want that's $1,000 today, it'll be $500 in a month. I'll just wait till then and get it, put it up. So you'll see that. We'll go in, and John should be inside. I see his car, so we'll go in. Now there's a large group right here, so I think what we're going to do is we'll take one group in, and then we'll just wait a few minutes so we can walk through the house and go to the backyard. Then we'll take the next group in. So it'll just be about a 5-minute period in between. That way it's not as, because I want you to also hear what's being said. this way. About half. Good. So John's going to take you in first, and like I said, whoops, I'm like a dog digging in the rocks there. I thought that was fun. John, where's John? He's coming. He's going to take the first group in. I'll wait about 5 minutes and take in the second group. So again, just smiles, have fun. Don't talk money inside. We'll do that outside. Perfect. Hey, John, you ready? All right. This is the first. So this is the first one, and I think a good way to start, if you can, is to buy one that exists, because then you don't have to go through the renovation to get it started, get the licensing and so on, plus you're cash flowing from day one. Because we'll talk about this tomorrow, but one of the questions is, how much money do I need? And the answer is none of your own if you don't want to use your own, but there has to be money involved. One of the biggest problems I think that business owners have is they're undercapitalized. So conceptually what you want to have enough money to carry you through whatever issues you're going to have. So when you're first starting the business, you have renovation, you have inspections, you got to pay the mortgage while it's going on, you may have to pay a caregiver where there's only one resident, then you have to, so it's negative cash flow for a period of time. And if you're not prepared for that, it can eat you alive. So we'll talk about that. Being prepared doesn't have to be your money. It could be a partner who brings in the money. You're operating the business, they provide the capital. But if it's an existing business, you got expenses and cash flow, you should be at least at break even to start, and then from there it should get better. So that's one way to go. Long answer to a short question.
Did you keep the caregivers? Did you keep the caregivers that you started when you bought the business?
So did I keep the caregivers when we bought it? The answer is yes initially, but everyone was evaluated. So everybody had to, in essence, it's an interview process. Well, John and myself at that point, because I wanted to be hands-on to know what has to happen, but also to make sure it's done right, right? Until I know John's operation methods. But one of the big criteria for me, I literally came here on a weekend. So on a weekend, weekday, things are one way, where you have a staff that is there pretty much 5 days a week, maybe 6. Everything is copacetic, it's running smooth. Then on weekends, you have fill-in staff typically. So I came here as a weekend, it might have been a Saturday afternoon, there's no visitors or anything, it's just the residents and the caregivers. And I'm sitting there talking with one of the residents, just having a conversation, and she said, "I'm cold, can I get a blanket?" to one of the caregivers. And the caregiver came over with a cup of coffee. I'm like, okay, there's a problem here. She asked for a blanket because she's cold. What did you hear? What did you understand? And I quickly realized that English was a distant second language, and they understand most things, but that's not going to work for me. So for me, I needed to have English as your first language or primary language, or it's not an issue. So that to me was really, really important. So all of those caregivers that were there are no longer here. Some of them stayed longer than others, but to me, that's the most important thing. Once you've got somebody like John, who you'll see whenever he interacts with whether it be service providers like yourself or whether it be a hospice nurse and so on, he's got a great rapport, they like him, they trust him, and that's really important. Now the next step is the caregivers, because the caregivers, some of you have actually had this experience. I was talking to Boone, he was down in Florida, wanted to go see a home, right? So he knocks on the door, and the caregiver came to the door very suspicious, like, "Who are you and why are you here?" It's like, "Well, I just like to see the home," and so on. And they were like, "No," and pushing him away. And he's like, "Well, what do I do?" "Well, you have to talk to the owner." "Okay, well, who's the owner?" I'm like, "Well, we can't tell you." It's like, think about that from a marketing standpoint. A potential client is walking to the door, knocking on the door, and they're turning him away, and they don't know what to say or how to do it. So that's just one level. Now it's how do they interact with the residents? How do they interact with the family? And I always tell the families of the residents when I sit with them is, Mom is going to tell us certain things, but she's going to tell you other things. Now we both realize, and you need to get that across, we both realize that she may think one thing and it's not reality, and we all know that. But if she shares something with you, please tell us, because it could be something so simple. And I'm always looking for the simple thing that can help. Like Laura here, who's here, she does design for elderly, right? Something to that effect. So simple things, think this through. I was sitting with a resident in her room, and she went to turn on her light. The nightstand, there's a light. She's reaching out of her bed to get to this light. I'm like, whoa, stop. I said, would it be easier if I had a button right here for it? She said, oh, that'd be amazing. And I'm thinking, for 10 bucks, I can get this thing you plug in, it's right here, you just go click like this. Or for $5, I can plug it in, so all she has to do is tap the lamp and it turns on. So I got that, it's like as if I just, cured cancer. It was like, oh, it's amazing. But little tiny things that they don't even know to ask for, or if they did, they were gonna ask the family or say, oh, the light is so difficult or whatever. It's a simple solution. But But if you're not looking for it, if you're not listening for that, that can become an issue. Other questions?
What's kind of your time involvement on a daily basis? Like, how much do you do daily?
Here?
Well, on all of them.
I haven't been here in a week, so 0. Other than I do payroll, right? I want to make sure that's smooth. I may be on the phone where if the handyman needs to get some supplies at Home Depot, I'm giving them a number. So it may be little or nothing, or it could be more intense depending on how involved I am at that time.
Okay, are you at this point now, are you helping with the hiring of the caregivers, or is that pretty much all John?
No, I definitely leave it up to John and the assistant managers, because they're the ones that are going to be working with them, and they know that business better than I do. But John has full authority to fire somebody, so it's not like he has to clear it with me.
Yeah.
And John's a really nice guy, and that's part of the problem when you're in management, right? You need to be firm but fair. So if you're supposed to do something and they don't do it, one of the ones that you're just automatically gone. If the caregiver says, you know, I'm not coming in today, or the replacement's not here and I'm leaving, I'll leave the house with 10 people in there, well, you're gone. And that has actually happened a couple of times where they threaten thinking they're going to get something out of us, and it's like, yeah, what you got is your last paycheck. You're gone. There is no coming back from that. Because if somebody's even remotely thinking that, they're putting not my business in jeopardy, but 10 people's lives in jeopardy. Just absolutely cannot happen. So that's very rare, but I'm just telling you, John can instantly. Now, having said that, if they need to leave and whatever, John's going to be the one who's there taking care of it, which I am very okay with.
Right.
But it's not going to be me. I mean, there's things, so very little, but sometimes much more depending on. Somebody asked the question about management meetings, right, the other day, and what John, the way he answered it, I want to clarify it, because the management meetings, John and I are constantly talking to each other about issues, but John has authority to do what he needs to do. We can talk about it afterwards and then say, I would have done it differently, or here's how to do it next time. But that authority is very important for him to have that. So we do meet regularly, and now we've instituted where not only John and I, but John, I, and the assistant managers will meet once a month. So it's the second pay period of each month. That's when we meet. And then John meets weekly with each one of the assistants, but he's actually in contact with them daily. All right? So let's go on in. We can talk more in the backyard, but those were good questions.
Just so you guys notice, there has to be some
They come and visit our house.
Thanks for letting us come visit. Thank you. Morning. How are you?
Good.
Hello, how are you today?
For a minute and then I come and take
Good to
you
see
for
you.
lunch.
Come on in, you guys, if you want to see some of these rooms right here. There we go. This is a typical, this is a good view of a private room, so you can just get an idea of what it looks like and the size. So this is a good example. Feel free, go on in. Just to get a good look of what a private room looks like, the size of the room, and so on. We've actually had 2 people in here at different times, but don't have to. It's big enough for that. And there's another room on the right over here that you can see just right around the corner. That's another private room that you can see. There we go. So this gives you an idea of these 2 rooms. Go ahead and take a look at those. They're just a typical, you know, private room. You can see it's a certain size. There's a bed, a nightstand, and so on. Those are so much nicer after the white decorates. This is the fire alarm system. So it's monitored, and that means if the fire alarm were to go off, it's connected right to the company that will call the fire department. So when you see the sprinklers, you know, that's what it is, and that's how that works. Over here you'll see the licenses on the wall. So you see the license for the house itself, directed care for 10. And then you see John's license. Again, that all has to be posted. And then all the different things that you have to have. So the resident rights, you know, where do they call if there's an issue? It's funny because you'll notice this one has, the resident rights here has 22 things, but in your policy and procedures you have to use the list that has 10 things. But we have to post the one that has, it's crazy.
Wait a minute, see that again?
It's crazy. That's the bottom line. The rules that they make you do, just little nuances of.
So you've got 10, but there's really 22. Or is it got
Correct.
22, there's really 10?
Exactly. I don't know.
So which
the
is
point
true?
is, that's a great question. You get now you'll notice this right here, just to give you an idea. Hello, how are you today? Good to see you. Everything good?
Yeah.
Good.
Fruits
You'll notice right here, this is an array of the cameras set up here. So there's cameras in the hallways and the exterior. So when somebody comes up the front door, you know, they know we're here. Basically, this is on a motion detector so that if there's motion, then it'll start, like right now there's no motion, so it's not recording. But if there is motion, then it'll start recording until it stops. And what's really cool about that is it's set on automatic, but it goes back in time. I don't know how it does it, like 5 seconds.
Who monitors that, Shane?
This right here, well, John and I have access to it, but other than that.
So you can look at it at home, right?
Yeah, we do. We look at it at home, and we watch at home, and we can see what's going on and not going on. Yes, caregivers. Yeah. They typically prepare the food 98% of the time, on occasions. The third one we get to on that level where you might have that kind of service.
Medicine cabinet and logic up there, the charts that buy. Okay? Oh, that goes.
So one thing you'll notice here, there's a fridge here, there's another one here, there's a pantry here. So there's just, you know, basic supplies when it comes to the food in the kitchen. It's not a commercial kitchen, there's nothing massive or major. So then this right here, this is where the medications are locked and the records for the residents.
And you're required to
It's
keep the
like
temperature within a certain range.
it has to be secure, even though I know it's in the room. Yes, so it's not really secure, it's just secure. You know, so, but
You guys got trapped.
one of those code things you have to
You guys got trapped.
Okay. Then this here, you can tell this used to be where the garage was. So beyond this, this was kind of the garage door entry to the house. How are we doing over here?
Doing fine.
Good. And this? Good, good, good. Good, good, good. Is Martha back here?
Yeah, she's down in the other room.
Absolutely. I had visitors today coming to visit you. Well, visit the house. Is that okay? I know, you're so good about that. Guys, come on in. I want you to see this. Remember I mentioned the offset hinges? Yeah. So that's what this looks like. So you can see it just brings the door in that extra inch. And that helps, doesn't it, Martha? Having the offset hinge. And they installed it here on this one. Did you notice that? They made this one wider? So,
Frank, if you go to the right, to the left, just go back there.
yeah, it just, it really does help, because you can see that extra
Right here in
hinge.
the right is one.
May not seem like a lot, but if you have a wheelchair and knuckles.
Really expand this.
Yeah, not a whole lot. The only way we truly could expand it is if we brought the door in, right, and then we could potentially bring it out a little bit more. But, you know, this is your next best bet.
What is this, 32 inches now, 31?
It's probably 32, you know. But again, with this door, if you don't have that offset hinge, it's kind of sticking out a little bit. That extra inch doesn't sound like a lot, but it truly is a lot.
So a wheelchair can pass through no problem?
Yeah, yeah, because Martha uses a walker and a wheelchair mostly, right?
Interesting.
So you can see, so, you know, 1 inch, if somebody's hands are here, you know, that 1 inch right there can make a difference. It's just that much more comfortable. So if you have a 36-inch doorway, which is what I always try to do, it just makes it that much nicer. But that just gives you a good idea. Request. So this one right here, this is just a good example, just a, you know, basic room. So you see it, those hinges. Just that is just the basic system from like Best Buy or something like that.
And that's what you recommend or no?
No, you know, it's okay. The reality is you can spend $2,000 getting this stuff and having somebody install it, or you can spend $6,000 having a real professional company come in and install it. And
This is okay, you can replace it when it's...
You don't have to have this at all, but it's really cool to be able to pull it up on an iPad and see things.
Is that a closet or a bathroom?
That's a closet. So this...
So bathroom right here, the hallway?
Correct. This has, these 3 rooms have private bathrooms, so that's got a full shower, everything, full shower. That last one up just has a half bath. This one, that bathroom, the hallway is kind of the bathroom for, if we have people coming to visit or something, that's probably where I direct you. But let's see the other side. Direct, not direct. So this was kind of a passway, that original wall right there. I'm guessing beyond that door was the garage. And that was the exterior wall. All right. Hello. 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 There we go. So So this is the, again, you just see more. Okay. This one is typically a double room, and we've actually just moved somebody from this room to another room because we're bringing 2 residents from our other home into here, so we can move a new resident in. So we're playing a little shuffle right now.
And you have a television in every bedroom, right?
Yes.
Okay.
We do have televisions in every bedroom because they're inexpensive and they use them quite a bit.
Do like a central satellite TV, like DirecTV or something, then
Cable.
Good enough? Good enough?
Oh.
Just basic cable. Just basic cable with one box, and then whatever channels they get, they get. You know, if somebody wants more channels for $10 a
at
month,
least you
I'll
give
give
them
them
that
box.
option in each room, right?
Yeah, yeah, and we have TVs because they really do
I
use
saw
that.
that old antenna outside.
Typical what?
Vacancy in terms of once somebody moves on and you fill the place up, is there a typical?
No, there's really not, but we're pretty good at getting it done within 30 days. I mean, sometimes it's a week, but it's rare that it goes past 30 days. We had somebody pass away recently, so that, but we're doing this little shuffle right now, so we've got a little shuffle going on.
That brings up a good question. What happens in the event that someone passes away in your house? What are the...
And by the way, that happens to most people. That's usually the exit plan is they pass away here. You know when they're declining, and that's exactly what we'll say. They're declining. We call the family, let them know that it's getting close, and they'll just come spend more time. And maybe they're here, maybe it's in the middle of the night. But at that point when that happens, the caregivers will call John. John calls the coroners, and they'll come out in a couple of hours, and they will just move them out. Life happens.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen a dead body, you realize they're not in there. There's just this meat carcass there. There's nothing there. They're gone. So it's, somebody asked me the other day, so you've gotten used to that concept of death and so on. And for me, it's not a big issue, but I'm not here all the time. I usually hear about it days later, a week later. Hey, somebody passed. It's like, okay, so did you clean out the room yet? Did you call the referral agents? I'm like, I got it. Thanks. Everybody good?
How does that work when you clean up the room? What process is that?
Well, typically, like in this room right here, when you look around, that bed itself is probably ours. I don't recognize these chairs. So I think this is ours, this is ours. So some of the furniture is theirs. So the reality is, first things first, it's family. The individual, let's take care of them. Then the family has to come because they're still renting the room until all their stuff is gone. So they're typically here within a day or two to get things out, right? And then once it's out, then we just come in and go, okay, what walls do we have to touch up with paint? Everything's been pretty much freshly painted, so it's not like you have to do a paint job. You've been in a few rooms that have been touched up recently and even sometimes the paint doesn't match, but it's okay, That's why if you have one color, you're much better off. You'll notice here there's like 7 colors of brown and 3 colors of white. And that gets hard. So this room itself is one of our nicest rooms right here. Here in this house, this is like a $4,000 room. Martha back there, that's like a $4,000 room. Most of the other ones are 3, and if it's a shared room, it could be 25, but it's whatever you can get. When somebody comes, like I had a call yesterday during class, I didn't take it till this morning, where a referral from hospice. And they said, can you take them in your home? And it's the 3rd home we're gonna see. Their budget is only X. And I called them back and I said, we'll work something out. Because the bottom line is, if I've got a bed, I want to fill it. And even if it's here, I'd rather get this now than this later. So we'll work that out. But that's what you want, is those referrals coming in. So let's go to the back, see that, because you guys are asking great questions. And I don't want to miss anything else either.
You got a place to go to now, right?
You may be a wash basin that's probably.
Hey, John. When you were mentioning earlier about the sheets that has the person's information, social security number, etc., how did you come up with the idea to develop that? Was it yourself or Gene?
No, it's pretty much like a DHS standard that we have a form that has those that information, and it's just think about how easy it is when something happens.
Yeah.
Just make a copy of it, copy their med sheets, what their meds they're on, and then when they come, just kind of give them that. Give them maybe a piece, it might have a scratch piece of paper with their most recent vital signs, and
You were trained on knowing that stuff, or who knows that stuff?
all the caregivers know that.
All the caregivers.
Yep.
Okay.
And I constantly, when new hires come through, like somebody who you newly hired, is make sure that they're aware this is the way I want it done.
Gotcha.
And if they have any questions, call.
So what are the requirements? You developed your system of how you kind of handle it.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
John, do you have like regularly scheduled, like if anybody wanted to go to a Sunday morning church service or they wanted to go play bingo?
We actually, yeah, I don't mean to cut you off, but
go to the beach, or to go to the Legion.
The beach?
Or
you know,
or
beach.
fraternal organizations.
It's
whatever.
a little different trip.
Yeah, here's the thing about that. A lot of the things, like we have a couple of residents who are Catholic, so we call the local Catholic church that's in the area. They'll come and do communion for them here in the house.
Okay.
And they do sometimes have people who come in and they'll sit and they'll read the Bible with them and have a little study.
Okay.
As far as the legions and stuff like that, a lot of times it's family that will do that, and they'll take them out. In fact, the one guy over here at Sweetwater, you'll meet him, and his grandson takes him out, and he goes down to one of the organizations.
But we highly encourage that, by the way. If they want to have somebody come visit, they're more than welcome.
Right.
You know, I've been here many times during the day where there's 2-3 different visitors, and they're visiting. Could be a pastor, could be family, could be hospice, could be pet therapy, it could be just about anything. So, and for those of you who didn't, this is your first time out here, when you're out here, you know, this is not typical. I know this doesn't look like a whole lot, but the point is most care homes, you walk in the backyard and it's rocks and a wall. Where's Jody? Is Jody here? Is that pretty, on this level anyway, right?
And they're small.
It's a really missed opportunity.
Yeah.
And they're small too. The area's usually not as big as this. And you know, I don't know if you see the barbecue grill over there, but 4th of July, Memorial Day, we will come out here, we'll cook hamburgers, hot dogs, potato salad, the whole 9 yards, have the families, have the residents, and we just have a big to-do party. So it's really fun. We have a lot of fun.
And the gazebo, I told you guys on the bus, you can see it's kind of shady, shaky, right? But again, that was temporary, and we'll get the better one in here. But even the walkways here, you see the plants where it's, again, the fake plants just gives great color. Just get them off season. You know, these are the fall ones that I got at 90% off at the home place, literally. So you're looking at $2 worth of plants, and it makes it simple. Just putting in this, planting the roses, having a little something like this. If nothing else, even if the residents don't use it, it's the curb appeal for the family.
Sure.
Because they come in the front, they see this sitting area and go, oh, this is awesome. We could sit here with mom and dad. Nobody ever sits out there.
Yeah.
And out here, we could sit at that table, we could sit here. I would love people to use this stuff more. But it's that curb appeal, and that's what's important. Because I want to have the amenities, but it doesn't mean they're jumping in the empty pool. Thank
Not
God.
an empty pool.
Is this maxed out at 10? You can't add on anything more?
In Arizona, we max out at 10. If you go to 11, it has to be in a commercial setting and everything changes, so you may as well go to 100 if you're going to do that. So this is the residential model. Good. What other questions do you have while we're here? We're going to go to the next one, but you're doing great.
Just a word, last time we were here, one guy was having a birthday, so his family was here and they took him out. And Coach had a birthday at the next one, so there was a big party in there for him. So.
Yeah, with 10 people and the caregivers, there's a lot of birthdays.
Yeah, we really try really hard to, we try to keep track of the birthdays, and then we try to get, like a lot of times they want a cake, if it's the women especially, cake, flowers, balloons, stuff like that. And we really try to make a big deal of it. We had a resident turn 100 here, and so of course that was like a real big bash because, you know, how often do you see residents hitting 100 years old? So.
I want to see it a lot more often.
Well, the way it's
as long as they've been here for 10 years, I'm okay.
The way it's going, that's going to be the norm, I think.
Is there a minimum age or health criteria to?
Interesting.
Well, I think the big thing is you have to understand what you're able to do in a setting like this, as far as with caregivers and stuff like that. So, and like, I don't know if you heard yesterday, but I was saying that there are times where if the resident is too medically complicated, you don't take them. You just say, I'm sorry, you know, we're not able to do it. I would much rather tell somebody I can't do it than to tell them I can, get the resident in here and realize I can't.
So, John, do y'all have any residents that, you know, maybe wife passed away, he still is able to drive, he's, you know, he just wants to go to a place where the meals are done and laundry's done, and just, do you have anybody like that that's that independent?
Not yet, but that's what we're hoping for with Sweetwater, because it just is one of those things where we want it to be more upbeat, active, you know. We have a basketball court and volleyball court for the grandkids or the active adults that they could go go over there and visit and, you know.
Yeah, every home, and this is, you can attest to this, Jody, the idea it has its own character, its own flavor. So when you walk in here, they're sitting in the wheelchair. They're, you know, it's a lot quieter, somber. They're not as mobile. The next home we're going to see, it's a step above, where it's very family oriented. They're more mobile and so on. And then the next home, again, like John is saying, we want that to be even better, but you almost can't dictate that. But once you're in a certain mode, you know, we've been here with 8 women and 2 men, and then all of a sudden it's 5 women and 5 men. You know, and that's different. That changes
Especially
things.
if you, in my experience, if you get a couple men in the house, it's more rare to have men, and sometimes homes just become like they're just the guy place. And once you know that kind of gets established, it's really hard to get one female to come. You know, sometimes it's not, but it depends on the pretty good odds. But there are a lot of there's very rare that you get the majority that are guys, and usually if you do get a majority of guys, it'll tend to stay a kind of a guy house for a long time.
So it ebbs and flows, and that's what we're going for. Is there any other questions about this house specifically? Because John's going to come with us on the bus right now. We're going to go to the next one. We can ask him more. Anything about this house right here specifically? All right, so renovations-wise, if you just turn around, you'll see there's actually in this house 2 AC systems. And you can look at the roof. It needs to be replaced. One of the things that I'm considering right here is solar. Solar for the electric, because number one, very flat roofs, great exposure, not a lot of trees. Plus, Solar City, if they put the solar panels on the roof, no money out of your pocket, number one, it's just the lease. Plus, if they put it on the roof and the roof has a leak, they're responsible. Which I love that, because this thing is like, that's got to be wicked old right there. I mean, here's my Boston coming out. Visited twice. But the point is, that is an old roof that should be replaced. And I'm thinking, hey, if they're willing to do that, which means they've got to, work around the ACs. There's so many potential leaks, and if they're saying they're responsible for it, and I save money on my electric, and it didn't cost me anything to put it on, so you'll see that on the third house. We have Solar City on that house there, and that's just a cool solution.
The room that's vacant, do you have more than one vacancy? And how is it vacant?
At this moment, we had somebody pass away in the last week, right? So we have 2 vacancies
Actually,
right now.
this week.
This week, sorry. And then, but we're doing a little shuffle. I think some of you missed that conversation, a little shuffle. We're okay with that because we're bringing 2 from the next house here. So this will be full because it's easier actually for us to fill that house there.
On Central.
On Central, which you'll see next. So by being able to do, it's actually worked out really well, because the 2 that we wanted to move here, we only had 1 opening for a brief period of time, and it's like we want to move them, and all of a sudden we have 2 openings. Perfect.
And is it because it's lesser rent here?
It's lesser rent here than there, but that location, because it's closer to downtown and there's not as many homes around, this is a great location, and the sign and the traffic is we are typically full here. But 9, 10, you're never going to be full all the time. So if you budget yourself for 90% or 80%, you're good. But we're typically full. And somebody asked, how long does it take on a turnover? There's a lot of times where it's a week and we've got it full. There's other times where it's a month and you've got it full. It's rare.
Yeah, I don't like to go more than a month, trust me. I'm out there calling people like Jody and other people, agents, to make sure.
Texting them.
Yeah, texting them, emailing them, pester them, bother them until they finally say, okay, we'll do something.
How do y'all handle deaths? Is it just like you go on business as normal? Do you discuss it with the residents, or?
Well, it depends on the level of the resident, because it deals with their comprehension. If they have dementia and stuff like that, we're not going to say, oh yeah, guess what, they died,
Right.
because that'll stick in their mind.
Right.
But if they're higher functioning, they might even ask you, they'll say, oh, did so-and-so pass away? And oh yeah, they did,
Right.
They know each other. They get to
Right.
know each other like
Sure.
family, so they're much aware of when they start declining, and then they see hospice coming in, and they see the writing on the wall, so to speak.
And John is amazing, as you know, but John will go to funerals. He will visit with the families, and if a resident goes into the hospital, I've had caregivers come up and say, I visited them in the hospital. It's like, I didn't ask them to do that, they just did it. And they're not getting paid to do it, they're just doing it because they love these people. And from a business standpoint, though, let me put the other hat on, you need to do that. You need to go visit them, because if you don't, think ambulance chaser. There are, not Jody, but there's other people who are there in
It's Jody,
the
too.
hospital. No, but there's people in the hospital there
I'm not
whose
logging
job.
time in the hospital.
But you know, there are people who do though, and they're there just waiting for that person to be wheeled in and say, hey, you probably don't like where you're living, I can get you a better house, and so on. And they're trying to poach our resident to go someplace else. So you do have to be in touch with the family and do that, and John does an excellent job. Again, we have caregivers that care, and you'll see it. You know,
the family's going to refer you to their friends because they know you care, you know,
yeah,
so.
it's all good.
So when you say you're moving 2 people, is it by their choice because they can't afford to rent over there anymore?
Well, actually, specifically what happened is one of the residents was here, and then her sister decided to join us. So to put them both together, we didn't have the spot here, so we said, we'll move them down there. So we moved them in together into a shared room. The sister who is, the first sister who was here, is now, her money is dwindling down, and she's been paying us for many, many years, dwindling down, so now she has to go on access and so on. We're not going to say move on, so we're going to bring them back together, and we're going to move them back here in a shared room. So financially it works better here at this house, it works much better for the family, and their #1 criteria is to keep the 2 together. Their preference is to keep them in the second house, and you'll see why. My preference is to let's maximize the income.
Right.
And again, I just want you to know I'm a business person, but I do have a heart. Yeah. Right? So I mean, it's, you mix these 2 together. All right, we're going to go through, get on the bus. We can ask more questions too.
You weren't aware that he had a heart, right?
Amy from HOV called, and I called her and left a message, but she has you know, Amy,
touch that rosemary before it's all over my hand.
All right, everybody, grab your seat. We're moving. Is there anybody missing? Raise your hand if you're not here. Yeah, I thought so. No, seriously, if you were sitting next to somebody earlier and they're no longer there, hopefully they've got, who was there? CR. CR, where are you? CR, there you go. CR's in the back, thank you. Anybody else was sitting next to somebody?
I get that all the time.
Yes, so turn over here. All right, cool. So was that interesting to see the house? Yeah. Good. Now it's really beneficial to have John here with us because he's here for the next couple of hours to see the next 2 homes, and I really appreciate him coming out. So I want you to feel free to ask any questions you want to. John and I will answer those for you. But that house itself, general impressions, anything you want to share, feel free to just ask, or what do you got? Go for it.
Were your doors actually 36-inch on those, or was it that way and you couldn't change them because of being cold?
Some of the doors in there are 36-inch, some of them are not. Those of you that were with me, I was specifically showing you in Martha's room in the back. She's the artist back there. Her doors, I had the offset hinges installed on that, so it gives you the extra inch. The door jamb doesn't allow it to go any wider than that. There's a couple of doors in there we still could put in 36-inch, but it's so disruptive to change out doors with humans in there, it's hard. So that house is pretty much where it's going to be. We'll just keep maintaining it from there. Any other questions?
Never would have guessed there was 10 bedrooms in that.
You never would have guessed there's 10 bedrooms, yeah. It just keeps on going. So the next home you're going to see, go ahead.
How has the business changed that you bought that house?
How has the business, meaning our specific business or the industry?
Both.
Oh, okay. The industry itself, I don't think has changed at all, other than I think there's more awareness of it's available. You know, my son plays volleyball, and you're sitting in the stands, and somebody says, "Oh, my mom is doing this," and then my wife says to them, "Well, we have care homes," and they're like, "Really? Tell me about it. What do I do? How about this?" So you just spread the word, and you'll get referrals and people coming to you. So the industry itself is, I think there's more awareness. And then the second one is, how has the business changed? One of the questions that I got outside, which I don't know if you got inside, is, you know, the caregivers, when we took over the house, are they still there, or, you know, whatever? And my biggest issue was, do they speak English? You know, are they good caregivers? Do they speak English? And I was given a little example where I came in on a Saturday, and the weekend staff is typically different than the weekday staff. And I'm sitting with a resident having a conversation. She said, I'm cold, can I have a blanket? And the caregiver brought her a cup of coffee. And I said, okay, there's a communication issue here, right? So it became very apparent to me that we really have to, and it's just 51 seconds. So it became very apparent to me that we have to have English speaking.
How many bedrooms were original with that house, do you know?
Original, like when it was built?
Yes.
It was probably a normal, 3-2 or 4-2. I really don't even know. Yeah.
Now that we've seen that house, can you give me some numbers? Like, what was the double occupancy room versus that really nice one with the built-in shower that was pretty large? Like, what was the gamut of that?
In that house right now, typically it's because we have 10 bedrooms, so it can be 10 private rooms. There's times where we had, I think the one room that when you go in and turn left at the end of the hall, there was a big room. There was 2 people in there because there was 2 people that were on Alltech. So that house is approved for Alltech, the government insurance. Those people were there, and I made the decision it's time for us to, when they were gone, we change it out and so on. But they were like iron ladies. They were lasting forever. And it's like, I'm okay with that. But, so one of them has moved on recently. So the other one is still there. And so we've moved her to a different room because now that's the room we're going to bring our other residents back into. So that room, because you have 10 bedrooms, it could be 10 private rooms. But typically it might be, 8 private rooms and 1 shared room. But it's typically 10 private rooms there.
But are you charging differently between the nicer rooms with drain bath or larger or whatever?
Absolutely. So in that home, the pricing is, the question was pricing, right? How do you charge and the pricing on the rooms? So in that home right there, the base starts at, for a shared room, $2,500 for a shared room. So one person, it's $3,000 for a base on a private room. A private room with a bathroom is $3,500, and then the premium room, which is the one in the front, which is the biggest room, and then Martha's room in the back that opens to the garden, a premium room would be $4,000. So you're going to have different options within the home. Now, reality is, if you don't forget level of care. And then John was reminding me about level of care. So depending on somebody's level of care, there's also an additional charge there. Now, we really haven't charged more than $500 extra for level of care. There's homes that would charge much, much more than that. But so it might be $3,000 plus $500. But again, the reality is it comes down to budget. So we have a room, I want it filled, this is the price, what's your budget? And if they say my budget is $3,000 and I'm asking $3,500, I'm more than likely going to take that because I'd rather have $3,000 now than $3,500 a month from now, because that extra $3,000 just paid for 6 months of that extra money, and they may only be there for 4 months. So I'd rather fill it now. But if somebody says my budget is $3,000, if you dig a little bit deeper, what you might find is they have $120,000 and they're saying, I need this to last for 4 years. Okay, well, let's do this. We'll make it $4,000 for the first year, $3,000 for the next year, and then $2,000 a year for years 3 and 4. So you can change the whole perspective on what they have a budget for. So that's another way to do it. All right, question? Go ahead.
For your live-in caregivers, if you had live-in caregivers, how do you work the room? Do you share the room? Do you have those?
Got it. So live-in caregivers. The question came up earlier about live-in staff versus just somebody who's there doing a shift. So for live-in caregivers, typically they would have a shift if there's live-in, right? We have had live-in there, but if there's live-in, they're going to share a room. We've also, at the very beginning, I remember we had live-in staff that basically just slept on the couch. And actually, I pulled the couch forward and put a single bed behind there. That was original when they were there. It was like, wow. But that's because they said, sleeping on the couch is so hard, Mr. Graham, Mr. Gene. That's what she would call me. And Mr. Gene. So I said, how about if I put a bed in the family room here? And she was so appreciative. But I've been in homes where it's a futon in the hall. So don't feel like you need to have a separate bedroom or a separate apartment. My friend in Colorado, Tom, he was going to give the caregivers a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house, and then the addition was where all the residents were going to live. And I said, Tom, stop. No, you don't do that. That's not what you do. They don't need that. That's way above and beyond. Don't mess us up. Okay, good.
When do you go to live-in care versus not?
When do you go go to live-in care? Well, here's the thing. There's pros and cons with having live-in caregivers versus shift work. If you have live-in, the expectation is they're on 24/7 or 24/6. That's a huge expectation. Every one of us needs sleep, and if your sleep is interrupted 6 times during the middle of the night, you didn't get a good night's sleep, which means the next day you can't perform very well. There's the negative of having the live-in caregivers, as I said, is they're just not fresh during the day. That's a tough gig. You're there for 12 hours taking care of people's every need. They need time off. So as far as I'm concerned, I would rather have somebody there for a shift. They go home and they rest. They go home and they get out of the environment. So if you do it that way, you don't have the live-in, you don't need to provide a bedroom or space. And then at night, so 6:30 to 6:30 is what we do. At night, we have awake staff. So they're supposed to be awake, not sleeping in a bed or the couch. We have cameras, which means we can watch them, and if they're not awake, we have telephones. We can call them and say, how's it going? Right? And if they don't get off the couch, it's like there's a problem. So awake staff, they have a whole list of duties they're supposed to do. You clean this, you do this, you do this. It's residents first, it's clean the house, it's all those things that can be done. They're being paid to be there and awake. You got a question, Gail?
Oh, just thinking of levels of care. Do you ever reach a place where you're going to hire in, I don't know, I'm just thinking the levels of care. Do you adjust that to the need? Or
We've actually had people talking about level of care, people who said, I want more care for my mom. Is it okay if I hire somebody and have them be kind of one-on-one? And the answer to that question is no problem at all. That's awesome.
That's on them.
We'll feed them lunch, absolutely. Yeah. If you want to pay a couple $100s on the side to somebody else to help take the burden off our caregivers, love it. Very rare, but you had a question? Or was it Carol's question?
Now you said that the caregivers that do live in sometimes would share a room. Would that be a share room with a resident?
No, caregivers would not share a room with a resident, thank you. It's just caregivers sharing a room with each other, which has its own set of problems, as you can imagine. But no, not caregivers with residents. Actually, we had a caregiver try to do that once, and I'm thinking that's just not working. That's not going to happen.
But tell them about the living caregivers. One of the pros to it is
turn left to the left.
You know that they're there, and you don't have to worry about them not showing up or being late.
Yeah, good point, John. So one of the points that John wanted to bring up is a benefit of having live-in caregivers is they don't show up late. They're there. They're there. They don't call in sick. They're there in the house. So that part is taken care of. Very good point.
That doesn't count against your occupancy then, does it?
No, caregivers do not count against your occupancy. Having said that, and I'll get yours next, Carol, is in some cities like Chandler, Arizona, you cannot have live-in caregivers. What you can do is provide a break room. Carol?
Question is for your nicer facilities. Do you ever do a wait list? Because it's nicer, it's not that much more than some of these not as nice places. Do you running wait lists?
So the question is wait list. If you have a nicer home that people want to get into, can you eventually have a wait list? The answer is absolutely yes, and when you do, life is very, very good. Again, typically, when people move into a home like this, it's because they need it right now. It's not I'm preparing for, and I can sit around and wait. But we do have some people, like the one who's going to call you for a showing on Monday, that wants to move into the house. She's moving from another facility that's a larger facility, and she wants this here, so she's in an independent living now. She's ready for this. So if we didn't have room and our house was the one she wanted, what I would do is collect a significant deposit to hold it, and now she has the first right to move in when we have an opening. That's where you want to get to, and we will.
Roughly, what's the square footage of each room?
There? Yeah. Each bedroom? Square footage of each bedroom right there probably averages at about, probably about 120 to 150 square feet for each bedroom, probably, because some are small and then some are bigger. That's probably about it. All right, so this next one right here, we're heading to what we call Pearson or Central. So the name of the business is Adagio Garden Central. I didn't pick the name Adagio, by the way. That was what I bought it, and it had a good reputation, so I said, I'll take the name too. They called it Adagio House. I changed it to Adagio Gardens.
We.
Sorry, John. John named it Adagio Gardens, and I planted the rose plant. I didn't really, so he did. I think he did come up with the name. So, and Central too. There it is. So John is the one who did it all. I'm kidding, man. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, so Adagio Gardens and Adagio Gardens Central. Gardens because it sounds nice, and we do have the plants in the gardens, which is a unique feature. So this area down here, we're about to turn right onto Camelback. Camelback is a well-known street here. And then we're going to turn the next street. If you look down straight ahead, there's a big tall building down there. That's the corner of Central and Camelback. So that's kind of the geographical spot. So we're going to go down and we're going to turn left on 3rd Street, right around the Dunn Edwards paint store, all right, which is just before Central, and we're going to be on this little street called Pearson. Pearson's about 1 block south of Camelback, which we're on. By the way, if you just go straight the other direction, east about 3 miles, you're at beautiful resorts, very expensive homes, great place to go and to live. So this area, I specifically chose it because it's close to downtown. It's just a straight shot to downtown, and there's a lot of money around here. So it's a really good location for both those reasons, and there wasn't other homes, significant homes available. So that was a big reason why.
So you took the Adagio name. Did you, from a marketing standpoint, did you buy the URL and keep everything, or did you redo all of the marketing to?
They really didn't have any marketing to take. They just had a name. So when I put it Adagio Gardens, it was easy to get the website and the URL and all that. But they had a good reputation. It wasn't a bad reputation. If it was bad, I would have changed it. Good. There's still people to this day that ask for the old owner, you know, and vice versa. So if it's good, keep it. If it's bad, you got to get around it. Yeah.
This is a 4, John?
A level 4, yeah. What we're going to see, this is what I would consider a level 4, and you'll notice here the entryway. The one negative on this is it's on a quiet street, which is a plus and a minus. There's not a lot of traffic, and it's pretty much one-way traffic. So you don't get a lot of exposure, just foot traffic going by. But the house is full, the agents love it, the location is phenomenal, and this is one of those houses where actually I wanted to put a sign in the front. The city originally told me I can do it. When I went back to the city and said I'm ready for it, they said you can't do that. I'm like, well, but the other person said I could, and I couldn't get around it, so that's why I went ahead and printed my sign and stuck it in the lawn for a couple of weeks till I got the letter. So, and it worked out just fine. So, you like that little theory, right? And how to find the owner of the house, you like that, right? So you'll notice this is kind of a business area. So this is really the entrance, the way that somebody has to get here. So if you look to the left, you'll see Dunn Edwards, and don't look to the right. Okay, don't look to the right.
And you know, C's is pretty.
Don't look to the right.
And it's right.
There we go.
The white building is.
There it is. Sign.
All right, we'll take our second right.
John.
John. Yes, sir.
Take your pick.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Don't think of what for.
Definitely.
Oh, I'll do.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brian, switch you around.
I didn't let these guys know we're coming. Did you by any chance? All right, so I'll have you go in
I called
first.
them this morning.
Okay.
I talked to Tanya.
Good. You go in first. Just make sure everything is good. I'll talk to people outside, and we'll go in 2 groups. We'll switch it up this time. You take the first group, but we'll do the other group instead. All right.
Say that again.
You go in first, but I'm going to have the other group, the group that went with you first, I'll have them go with me. Okay. This way they switch it up.
Oh, great. Karen's there.
Oh, good. It's all good, John. Block the driveway, just pull up behind it. We'll get out in the driveway, that's good. Okay, so here on the right-hand side, this is Adagio Gardens Central. You saw this one in some pictures right here. So before we get out of the bus, you can see, actually John, I'll let you get out and you can settle in. And then Valentino, in a moment, you can get out. But this one right here, you'll see as soon as you get off the bus, it's a really quiet neighborhood. You'll hear birds chirping and so on. If you look to the left, you see a church steeple over there. That's St. Francis the Catholic Church. Over there, straight left right there, that's the boys' preparatory school. And then for, so that's Brophy. I think that's Brophy, and then Xavier, which is the girls' preparatory school, is over there. So it's a really cool neighborhood. Central Avenue is just half a block that way straight ahead. You can see all these homes right here. Nice neighbors, they keep up their house. It's kind of a cool little niche area in the city. This house itself was $480,000, and it was a 5-bedroom, 5-bath house, 4,800 square feet. So I said 480, it was actually 490, and I got 3% for closing, so 475. So 490 is the price. The house itself, on the exterior, we didn't do a whole lot besides paint it. The landscaping in the front, we did scrape out all of the stuff that was there, plant new. We widened the front walk. We poured the walk on the left-hand side to get to the other driveway. You'll notice on the left-hand side, it looks a lot sparser because we had a plumbing issue. So we had to dig up the sewer line and replace it. So, you know, you'll notice things like that, and I'll point them out because it's a house. So that means you have maintenance. And if it's an old house, you have different types of maintenance. The garage is intact, so it's a beautiful big storage area for us. The house, again, 4,800 square feet. The backyard, we'll go out there and we'll meet in the backyard again. This house has more space, so it's easier to walk around. Same thing, don't talk money, don't talk prices. The residents are wonderful. Lucy and Katie, I'm always getting it wrong. Katie and, it'll come to me.
Lucy will flirt with you.
Yes, but just wonderful residents. Bob will be there. It's licensed for 10. The house is full. Dolores and Pauline and Bob and Coach, a guy named Coach, and Olga. Very modern names. Olga, Ginger. So it's really neat. You get to know them, you get to meet their families, and so on.
This one you converted the family room.
Yeah, this is the one where, remember the pictures from yesterday where I walked in and there was a big room, it was called a great room, and then I said we converted it. So when I take you there, you'll see the French doors and you'll see it, and I'll kind of point it out. So as we go in, again, we'll walk through, we'll point out some things, then we'll go in the backyard, ask questions, and if you want to see something again, we can come back through and get that answered at that point. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right, here's what we're going to do this time. Everybody gather around. This time we split it into 2 groups. Who was in the first group that went in with John? All right, you're going to go in with me this time. And then who was the group that went with me before? You're going to go with John this time, so this way we kind of mix it up a little bit. So the ones who are with me, raise your hand. Go ahead, you guys go to the front. You're going to go with John, right? If you're with John, stay with me. We'll just answer questions out here and we'll go in second. We'll stand in the shade though, over here. The house next door, they had actually had a for sale sign out for about 4 months asking, asking $560. And I'm like, no way, but I hope you get it, right? Again, they were asking like $560, and it's about 3,500 square feet with a basement, which is very unusual. That's part of the square footage. Original single pane glass. It needed everything updated. I'm like, no way. So it sat there for about 4 months, and then it sold. It sold, and they've been doing massive renovation to it. So I'm happy because if they got close to 5 for, you know, a third less space, not fixed up, we're doing good. So we're doing really good. So this right here with the house itself, you see all the brick right here, we're going to repoint that so it'll look much better. Stones are going down now that the plumbing issue is done over here. The grass needs to be watered, and we have a sprinkler issue. Yeah.
Oh, they're coming on. So
you
probably need to move off the grass. We got sprinklers starting. So
I was hoping that one wasn't.
Yeah, they're coming. We got a broken one, so it's not going to spray. It's too bad. So.
Well, you're in the shade though. You'll be nice and cool if it goes off.
John, said you paid $480 for jeans.
$490. $490 for this one.
Is that low for this neighborhood? I'm surprised at that.
It was a good price. It was a good price. And the people who were selling it, in the great room, in the neighborhood, it was known as the party room because they would have lots of parties and so on in that room. It was a big, huge room with the pool in the back, so it was really cool. And I can only imagine when I saw the pictures, it was through the MLS, when I saw the pictures, I'm thinking that people look at that big room and they cannot, I don't know what to do. What do I do with this big empty room? And I look at that and go, oh, this is perfect. So once I decided this is the area, then it was just look for it. And it's like, well, there it is. came in, made the deal, and just worked out the timing of it so it worked for them and all of that. So it's a good one. This one we did about $100,000 worth of renovation, and that was the great room. So adding in 2 bathrooms, 4 bedrooms. The front here that sticks out, that was the dining room. That's now a bedroom. So that conversion, taking the pool out, putting in the deck, putting in plants, widening the walk and so on. And you'll see it's a nice room, and then furnishing it too, that's all kind of part of it. And this was purchased furniture versus the lease of the furniture, because I didn't know that till Bill shared that with me. And Bill shared about Lease Genie, and you'll give him a link, right, to go to make life easy. We're actually going to figure that out so that it'll be like, here's what you need to do the house. Every stick of furniture, every spoon, every fork, boom. So that when you go there, it's just, I want package A, and I want package B.
And you'll have choice of designs on the furniture and stuff. I'm working on that, so it's all
and that'd be cool. Because if I could just go click and know that the truck arrives on Tuesday, life is easy.
You'll have everything on it.
And that just saves boatloads of time. So that'll be really good. Any other questions? Because we can walk in, it's a bigger house, we got more space. So we'll go ahead, we'll go on in. I mean, I like to get input from everybody because everybody's got ideas. And I would love to you're my friend and I'm showing you what I'm saying. Because everybody Here's what we'll do, guys. Let's start over here. Hello, Isaac. All right, so we'll start over here. It looks like they're having lunch right now. But in this room right here, a lot of this tile was already here intact. So that was great. And where it wasn't here, we tried to match it up to some extent. So in the front room itself, the goal here is to make it, nicer and inviting. This is all Ashley furniture. So this whole room, from that piece there, the fireplace, the couch, the chairs, all of this, might be $3,000. So it's not that much. And if you did that on a lease, that's about $50 a month. But it looks good. It's got a great appearance, and that's what you want. People come in and it's like, oh, I get it. You notice the smell. When you walk into the house, God willing, it's going to smell good. It's not going to smell bad. Of course, if you catch anybody at a certain time, it could smell bad. But that's one of those things. The dining room used to be over there, and now we've moved the wall out. There's a closet behind each side, so now it's a bedroom. Still makes plenty of room here, and then the dining room is now this whole area over here.
Bless you.
So there's round tables with chairs up to them. And since they're dining, I'll go down this way. We'll go through some of the bedrooms on this side, and let's see. Is it too cold in here? Should we make it warmer? Yeah. It's what? You take the money? Is it a nickel or a quarter this time? Yeah. Yeah, either one. She's fine with it. And how are you, Ginger? Good. Hello, Karen. I'm showing some people around. Is that okay? Was lunch good? You got your popsicles. Is it popsicle first? She's waving over. She's not waving to. She just always likes to be on the camera. But, there we go. All right, so I'm gonna just have them peek into your room. Is that okay, Olga? Good. So this right here, this used to be the dining room right here, and you can kind of see the depth of it. That this was the wall. So the dining room was here. There was just a doorway. So we just pulled the wall out, put in 2 closets, and so with Hasten and I did it all around.
She's a ham. Good luck working with her,
Then we're gonna pass through this way. There we go. These are, I like their outfits, by the way. We have new shirts with logos on them, so now we're kind of color coordinated. I like that. That's good. So you can see the kitchen is really well. It's nice, big, and open, and so on. This right here is something that they requested specifically, so that they would have. This way, it's staff only, family and residents here. And yet we still have some residents that love to come through, right? You'll notice the cameras again right here, so in the common areas you'll notice that as well. Just very normal. This right here with these doors, this is where it opens into the great room. So this room right here, this is just that one big, huge, great room. So what we did was, that's a double room over here, which we won't take a look at because Karen asked us not to. Over here, it's a single room with a half bath, and then there's another single room with a half bath that mirrors it, but you enter it from the other hall. So this whole big space gave us this family room, a double room, 2 singles with 2 half baths. So much better use of space than just a big empty room. And when you look in the rooms, let's see, when you look in the room, you'll see it's a half bath, and then the bedroom itself. This is actually the smallest room here. So from a size standpoint, this is the smallest one, but it's adequate. That's all you need. Go ahead. So this room.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so this is the master right here. So yeah, this would definitely be a premium. They're not here right now, but this one, the ask on was 75. So nice big room.
What'd you say was the
75. So you can have husband and wife. Right now, her husband passed away, so it's just her. Yeah. And so this was actually all intact, but you'll notice the floors. This is from Home Depot. Looks like wood, but it's ceramic tile. It's about $250, $229 a square foot, and it wears well, it cleans well, looks good, it's smooth. This is a good product to use. So I'll show you the other floor in the next house, different, but this is a good sample. Laundry room. This bathroom right here is kind of the one that guests would use, but so this is, again, a mirror to the other room that you saw on the other side, so it's just the same thing. This was an exterior wall, so in this house, at one point, it was just a big U shape, and this was an open like courtyard there. There's actually windows at one point here, so in this wall there's still some glass windows. So when we did that, we broke through this wall. You can see the little change in elevation, so we had to break through, so this had an entryway going this way.
Who's the visionary? You're the one that comes up with all that?
Well, all of us. The room kind of speaks to you, and then then you get input. And on this room right here, on this room, there's a Jack and Jill bath in between.
Do stuff, yeah.
Put tissues on the floor.
They're supposed to have that.
We usually have it in different areas. It's in here. If you walk out, when you go walking out the door, I'll post it out to you if you ask me, I'll show it. But anyways, so when I'm not there, I have somebody delegated. That's why I'm on call, is because they run into problems, they can call me. Like I don't know if I said, I try to establish an assistant manager in each home. And that's part of the purpose, is if they, say if I was just unavailable, cell phones, no cell phone service, whatever. Right. Right.
You usually schedule your caregiver, the main ones during the week, and then on the weekend you got a weekend staff.
Right. Right. So.
John, is your assistant manager a title you give to one of your caregivers that you trust, or is it a separate position, another person in addition to the 2 caregivers?
No, it's
like a lead caregiver.
Yeah, I don't like to call them lead because, you know, yeah. But
it's a title you give to.
I give assistant manager. That means that they work directly with me. They are in charge of the house directly when I'm not there. So if somebody has to go home sick, they'll take care of the staffing, get somebody else in to replace them. If they are having, you know, say they're struggling, they can't get somebody, then I even go in. I've gone in, I've worked night shifts, you know, whatever it takes. This is a 24/7 hour business. It doesn't close.
But it's one of your caregivers, right? It's one
Yes.
of your. It's one of
Yes.
your caregivers.
Absolutely, it has to be.
So during the day you have 2 people on?
Yes.
At night you have 1 person?
Yes.
Okay, that's it?
Yes.
And you have the nurse that comes in for whatever the evaluations are?
Yep.
Periodically?
And then I come in.
Okay.
So, and I try to spend as much time at each house as time permits.
Like several hours a day? Or?
Yeah, usually several hours a day. Kind of like somebody told me, they said putting out fires, and I thought that was kind of a interesting. But yeah, if you have a house where there's somebody who's really sick all the time, or there's something issue going on, because there's some of, like this house here, my manager, if I don't show up a day, 2 days, she's on the phone with me daily, giving me updates. I can actually not come to a house for a couple of days, and it's okay. But I'm kind of, I don't know, I don't like to release the control, so I like to go to all the houses.
I like to see you because then if you're observing contact with the family.
Yeah,
They want to see you.
yeah. That's another reason why I'm involved with the tours and stuff, because I'm kind of eyeing the face, and they want to meet Gene, but Gene, he does the business side of it. They want to meet me. They want to know who's the service person, who's the go-to person, who manages the caregivers, who looks out for the care of the residents. So that kind of thing is what I do.
If somebody has like a balancing issue or something like that, they can't get out of bed by themselves, they have like a call button that somebody comes and
Yeah, I don't know if you saw it or not. We have it in here. When I go back in, remind me, and I'll have them push the button, and you'll hear it. It's a wireless call system. You can find them on the internet. You know, shop around for price and stuff. Some of them.
That's around the neck.
Yep, and they push the button, and it calls on the main call box. And that thing can be very loud to the point where you can be in any part of the house, even with the door shut, and you can hear it. So, it's loud and annoying though.
John, what's your fallback when your caregiver calls in sick for 2 or 3 days? You only have so much staffing that you can plug in.
Well, see, that's the thing. The more homes you own, the more staff you have. So when somebody's off at this house, I can call them up and say, hey, how would you like to come in and make some more money working over here? So I kind of shuffle them around. That's the hard was when we first started the first house, because I didn't have that luxury. So, and now I do. And then there's also too, sometimes people come in and they have one job and they're looking to supplement, and they'll just say to me, hey, these are the days, you know, say Monday, Wednesday, Friday, that I could fill in. And if I have a day where I need somebody to fill in, that's the person I'll call Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. So it's hard to get backup like that, but it's so nice. It makes your life easier.
How often does a family come visit on average, would you say?
It depends on the family. It depends on their schedule, whether they're working or retired or out of state or out of town. Some do it daily, some do it weekly, some do it quarterly. It just really depends.
And do you find most are in town or out of town?
Most of them, I'd say probably 75–80% are in town. So you have that 20% maybe that they're out of town, they live out of state. Sometimes they have somebody here, like a friend or somebody of the family, that will come in when they're at home, and then when they come down, like we had a lady just came down here to visit her mom and her sister, and they were down here for 3 weeks.
So did they just sign the person out if they're going to take them out? They just sign them out?
Absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely, yeah. So.
Is there any other questions you want to ask here on this house? Otherwise, we're going to drive to the next. We can do more questions on the bus. All right, let's go on through. We're going to go straight through.
I love this room.
Okay. Well, how was that house? Did you like that one?
Yeah.
All right. See a little step above. What did you notice that was different? Smell. So they probably had just cleaned. It smelled pretty freshly cleaned.
Well, you know what? They got those things, Mariella, about the things that the air misters.
Oh, the air misters?
Yeah.
So was it too much, too strong? Good? You liked it? Okay, good.
You need to get some.
It's a higher level of decor.
Higher level of decor, yeah. But, and again, the rooms, you would be really, when we go to the next house, a lot of the rooms are empty right now because we just opened, and you will see my wife's decorations. So it's basic, yet it looks clean, it looks proper. When somebody then brings in their own stuff, it can look a lot different, you know, but it's their room.
What was the range of prices on those back?
Got it. So in that house, you got it. In that house, a shared, again, a shared room is $3,500 per person. A private room is 4,000, and then it goes up from there. So the master itself is 7,500. What do you need, bud?
That door back there for some reason. I gotta shut it. Guys, anybody's side of the bus.
Oh, sorry.
That's all right.
I'm glad you caught it down.
One of the doors open.
Had a hitchhiker. So, no, it's okay, everybody. Relax. Relax. Let's do a head count again. Is there somebody that you were sitting next to, you don't see him anymore? Something like that? Okay, just checking. Because I don't have a head count. I'm just going to say this officially. If you're not on the bus,
My buddy's with me, so.
I hope you know where you're sleeping tonight. Yes.
Gene, I mean, I don't want this to sound like a sexist question, but
I'm married.
Well, for instance, I like to go out into the garage and just tinker with stuff. Women like to kind of hang out in the kitchen and do stuff. I mean, do the residents do that kind of thing? And by locking them out of the kitchen, is that depriving them of a joy that they would otherwise have?
So the question is, yes, I'm going to let John answer the question. I'll repeat it and I'll let John answer it. Okay. The question is it okay, is it desirable to have the men tinkering in the garage if they want to, the residents, and the women tinkering in the kitchen if they want to? And John is going to answer the question. Then I'll, yes, no?
I'll tell you.
Okay. The answer is no, you can't do that. Because in the garage are tools and dangerous things. In the kitchen are knives and so on. Literally, the knives are in a locked cabinet. Scissors are in locked cabinets. Medications in locked cabinets. Stoves are hot. You know, so no, they can't. I would love to think they can come in and bake cookies, but now can they help occasionally? Absolutely. Can we do little projects? Yes. But it's not something that they're going to be out there doing. Good. Yes, Christy.
Is that why you had that little gate there by the island?
We specifically have the little gate there in that kitchen because the configuration of the kitchen, it's very inviting for people to walk in. Residents, families, as well as some of the residents. So to keep the residents out, there it is. Now we have one in particular resident there who loves to come into the kitchen and make his own, you know, muffins and toast and chips and put an English muffin in the toaster and take it out with a fork and I'm kidding, but you see the potential problem.
He sticks his hands in the ice.
Sticks his hand in the ice tray and so on. So we can't do that. So we specifically have that for that resident as well as...
For a health thing.
It's a health issue, yeah. Question?
Are you planning the same menu for all three houses? Are you doing a master menu kind of a thing, or?
John's shaking his head no, saying it's not a master menu for each one. You can't.
You can if you want, but it's not required.
You can if you want, but it's not required. So there it is.
For your own convenience.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. Really, it's a different menu every house.
Every house is different because it depends on who's cooking. Some people can cook the same thing, some people can't. So because of that, we have different different menus. Now I do have master menus where I have them for like more than 1 week. I'll have like 5 for a month, and I'll rotate them so that they're same. And then I have a template of the menu so I can always go back and revisit it and revise it and add things and take things off.
Got it. Boom.
You mentioned one of the rooms was very high-end premium. What was the monthly on that?
For the master bedroom there, the ask is $7,500. And notice I'm saying the ask because when somebody says, how much is this? It's $7,500. What's your budget? My budget is $6,000. Well, if you have this room for $6,000, are you ready to move in now? Yes, I am. I'd rather have that than the $7,500 maybe later.
Does she wish to live with that?
Yeah.
So John had said that that particular assistant manager is really good. So I'm curious to know what her skills are that he just finds like other helpful than some of the others.
I will let John answer that. Close to your mouth so y'all can hear.
Okay, that particular manager and a lot of my other managers are really well trained. They can write up the medication records. They can enter medication changes that come from the doctor. They can set up the medisets, and they can add and subtract medications out of the mediset. They work a lot on their own and need little supervision, and they pay attention to details, and including the paperwork, which is like a very big and important part of having your group home.
Did you train them?
The one that's over there in that particular house, she worked as a medical records person first, and then she became a caregiver. So she's really an ideal person as far as keeping records and doing the paperwork. She's also an excellent caregiver, and the families really enjoy her.
And her husband works at the first house that we saw. So her husband's name is Raphael, and he's a nice big teddy bear of a guy, and great guy, and he works there at the other house. So 2 caregivers, same family, working in a different house.
Speaking of which, the caregivers, do they have to be able to lift maximum amount so that they can help lift a resident or haul a moment?
In regards to the caregiver's ability to lift weight, it's a real plus if they can. If they can't, that's a detriment. So when you have somebody who weighs 90 pounds, a caregiver, it's going to be very difficult for them to weigh and lift somebody who weighs 120 pounds, let alone 500 pounds, right? If somebody weighs...
You're turning left, right?
Correct, you're going to turn left.
You're at 16? Okay.
And then
you want to turn left, right?
Yep, either way.
You can go down from down there too.
Yep. So if you ever miss this one, take the next one.
Yeah.
We'll get you there. So if they can lift weight, it certainly is a bonus. And it happens. The biggest injury caregivers have will be back strains, right? That's it. So, you know, Raphael, a lot of times he's in the house and he has a back brace on just to give him that extra support, you know, during the day. Somebody mentioned the idea of, if I was here, I'd have a king-size bed. Well, I get that if you're your age and your mobility, but if you're not mobile and the caregivers need to lift you out of the bed or help you with that, a king-size bed is very difficult to do. A twin bed, a full-size bed, they can reach in, they can get you. Now, if somebody needs a lot more help, there's something called a Hoyer lift. And actually, I'm sure we have them there, but in the we have one there, by the way, in storage at Pearson. Yeah, we do, just so you know. But a Hoyer lift is something, think of an arm with a basket. So it's kind of a canvas harness, putting underneath the resident, roll them up, put it underneath, they go on top, then it lifts them, and then you can maneuver them. So it could be from the bed into a chair, it could be from the chair into the bed, so lifting somebody can be done with a Hoyer lift.
Where do you buy the minimal medical supplies that you need, like the Hoyer lift, the bed pans, the bed pads?
Got it. So where do you buy the light, I'll call it light medical equipment? First of all, the Hoyer lift, we didn't buy one. I don't know where that one came from. Somebody left it, gifted it to us, that Hoyer lift that we have there at Pearson. I don't know where it came from. But sometimes if somebody needs medical equipment like a bed, a Hoyer lift, whatever, they can get it from hospice or from their doctors, and they'll either rent it from a supply house, they'll just deliver it to the house. It doesn't cost us anything. They come deliver it, they pick it up. If we buy things, there are medical supply stores. There's one a mile away from the next house we're going to go to that has all kinds of things, durable medical equipment as well as bed pads and so on. So we need to start getting it delivered, things that we need, because they'll do a delivery, by the way, when I was there. Yeah. Or you can buy things there. Good.
Now, are you going to provide us a list of those type of items that we're going to need to be operational?
That's not a list that I have yet, but I will. I'll say yes, because every time somebody asks for something and it's simple to do, we can do that. Bill, put that one on the list.
What was the question?
The question was...
List of the list. A
list of the list. He was saying, will I help by providing a list of the list of things that you might need, like pads or whatever it may be? And I said, yeah, we can create that, because we just have it, but if I create it in a list and give it to you, that's helpful to you, so we can work on that. And let me get it, and I'll come back and come back.
When somebody passes away, do you inherit their furniture, and what do you do with it?
The question was, when somebody passes away, do we inherit the furniture? Well, not in the will, right? But sometimes people will come and take what they want, and then they'll say, well, you can have the rest. It's like, well, thank you very much. I really don't want the rest. So usually there's not a lot left behind. Sometimes they'll offer things like, hey, we have the lift chair that we don't need anymore. Do you want to buy it? And I'm like, well, I don't need it. Depends on the price. Well, $50. Well, I'll take it. You know, so, because it costs more to fix one than it does to buy it for that. So some things we'll take, other things we don't. We'll help them load it. Occasionally we do get blessed with some things that we don't want either. Kelly?
Does your bookkeeping lady, does she do manage all the books for all of your facilities and the payroll?
Yes. So our bookkeeper, her name is Lee, and she's very good. She loves doing things like that. She does keep track of, and specifically what I look to her for is taxes and for payroll, and a lot of the other stuff I take care of myself, and then just I do it and give it to her so that she can collate it and put it all together. Good. Brian?
Do you charge for pet diapers and for insurance and things like that?
So the question is, do we charge for the smaller stuff? And I'm looking to John. What do we charge for?
Briefs, wipes, gloves, things of that nature. If they need disposable chucks or the family requests disposable chucks, they're what's that? It's like there's two kinds. There's like a bed pad, which is washable, usable pad that you put on to protect the bed from when if they wet it. And then they have what they call a disposable chuck, which is it's got cotton fiber, and if they wet it, you just roll it up and throw it in the trash, so it's disposable. So the main things that the family is responsible for are their incontinence products, the wipes, the gloves, and whether it's pull-ups or briefs or whatever it is. A lot of times we'll purchase it for them and then we'll bill it to them because we tend to get things done quicker than they do.
How about like
Insure or extra things food-wise they would pay for it. So we might supply it and then charge them, or they bring it in and it's their name on it.
Now, when you have to charge for ancillary things like that, I mean, you're not getting permission from the family, are you? Or are you just charging it on their bill?
That's in the residency agreement, right?
Yeah.
The question was, do you get permission from the resident's family or whoever's responsible for it to supply those things? And the answer is a lot of that is actually addressed in the residency agreement, but if there's something specific, you kind of pre-approve it.
Yeah.
And they're more than happy to do it. I mean, there might be an extra $50 worth of charges. It's not, or $12 worth of charges. It's not like a hospital where we pay $10 and we're charging them $300 for it. Although we probably could.
That, what if Sally wants to go shopping for a new dress or get her hair done? You just charge that on her.
All right, the question was, what if Sally, this mystical woman, what if Sally wants to get her hair done or wants to go shopping for a new dress? Sally was sitting around that table there today, right? She's not going out looking for a new dress very often. If she is, her family's going to come and bring her and take her and so on. So hairdressers they come in, they visit once a month, once every other week. Whoever wants to get their hair done, you're welcome to, and they'll just provide that. And then they could pay them directly, but what typically happens is we get a bill, we pay it, then we charge it to them at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month. Good. Other questions? Yeah.
Laundry. Are all the residents' clothes marked, and how often are the beds changed?
Laundry. The residents' clothes should be marked in the label, like inside. If there is no label, it gets a little more difficult. That is one issue that does happen, just like at home with missing sock, missing whatever. When you have a house like that with 10 people, if you only have a small amount of clothes that they want to get cleaned, then they start mixing laundry with another resident, and things do get misplaced. So things do happen, but the caregivers do their best. They clean the clothes, they replace the clothes in there. Beds, everything is changed at least once a week, but anytime it's needed in between, for sure. Somebody else asked about the mattresses, staining or whatever. There should always be a heavy-duty mattress pad, then the sheets, then there's going to be the bed pad or the chucks that John was talking about on top of that. So God willing, that doesn't happen very often unless somebody forgot.
Do you do the same with the furniture? They have not sitting on the couch?
The question was, do you do the same for the furniture? Well, first of all, you should, for your furniture, all get it stain guarded. What if you're leasing the furniture? Same thing, yeah. Still get it stain guarded so that there's some level of protection there.
That can be done with the lease.
Yeah, even with the furniture in the front room from Ashley Furniture, I paid the extra to have it supposedly treated. I don't think they do anything, right? But it gives you the warranty that if there's a stain, doesn't matter what happened, if there's a stain, I give them a call and they come in and fix it. If they can't get it out, they're supposed to replace it. So that's on the wood, that's on the furniture, and that works for me, because I have called them where, hey, the arm broke on the chair. Well, here it is, we fixed it.
I have a question for that, like leather furniture versus fabric furniture.
Leather versus fabric. I don't know, fabric is more comfortable, leather can get hot. If you have a lift chair, I definitely say no leather because that is slippery. Think grandma getting up and all of a sudden, whoop. So seriously, you don't want slippery lift chairs. Fabric, leather easier to clean, for sure. Fabric more comfortable, you just decide. So a lot of those chairs in the family room that you saw in this second house right here, those are not my chairs. So they supplied the chairs and wanted it out there. So if it doesn't look too sketch, I'm okay with that. And I could also just get a cover that covers them all. We just try to coordinate it that way. All right. What we're doing is we're just going back to the first house so John can get his car, and then we're going to drive about 10 minutes to get to the third location.
So we get the bus push. Okay.
Ready? Yeah. They still have a lot of enthusiasm an hour later. Good for them. Any other questions? All right. All right, everybody. We're just a few minutes away right here. We're about to turn left or going north on Scottsdale Road. This right now is called Cactus and then Scottsdale. So Scottsdale Road, if you take it to the right, south, about 5 miles, you're in downtown, Old Town Scottsdale, which is a really nice place to visit and so on. We're going to the left, just a little bit north, a half a mile, half a block. We're going to turn right. The street is called Sweetwater. So there's no homeowners association. You'll notice the homes are large and very nice. On the corner, there's the Jewish Community Center. They have a gym that anybody can join, the tremendous facility there. There's an elementary school, and then we're going to be just 2 houses after the first intersection. So this house itself, when we got it, it was 5,100 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 5 baths on a nice big size lot. We went in, we expanded the second master, made it into a larger one. We took the 4-car garage and put in 4 bedrooms and 2 Jack and Jill baths. We converted an office into a bedroom, and then the office that was off the master, we turned it into a guest room. So you'll see all of that. So John's going to meet us there when we get off. We'll let Valentino off first, we'll get off, and then I'll kind of talk to you outside. We're going to be meeting my realtor there. His name is David Prom. Somebody had asked the question, how do you find a good realtor? And I will say, I know we have some here on the bus, but the reality is it's very difficult to find a really good realtor. One of the things that I always ask a potential realtor that I'm going to work with is, are you an investor? Do you invest in homes yourself? And if they say no, for the most part, I'm just going to look for somebody else. The reason why is I want somebody who understands what I'm looking for. I want somebody who's willing to put in 10 offers to get one accepted. What I don't want is a realtor who is going to tell me they'll never take that. You can't do that. You shouldn't do that. That's not what I want. I want somebody, yeah, they're supposed to present all offers, but if I need to explain it to them and they're not an investor, I'm not here to train the realtor. Good realtors are hard to find. I would say good realtors are 1 out of 10, and then 1 out of 10 of those is going to be the one that I want to work with. So how do I find that person? Ask for recommendations from others, especially if they specialize in something like assisted living facilities. Dave right here, because we've worked together for years, and this is one of the things that I do, he's now become a pretty good expert on the assisted living facilities as a realtor. So he has some pocket listings, he has things that he knows of that others don't. He knows what to look for, what's important and what's not. It's coming up on the right-hand side. I see Dave's car there, and I see John's car there, so we're all good. It's the house with the solar panels on it there. And welcome to Sweetwater Pines. Come on up, gather around here. Oh, I see Dave over there, okay. Those gates right there, I do keep them open all the time. There's no reason to close them. So this house is Sweetwater Pines, as you can see with the pine trees here. It just had to be. You know, as soon as I got here, it's like Sweetwater Pines, that's what it's got to be. So you can see my illegal signs here. So this is the kind of thing, but again, if you're really going to do it where it's just out for a short period, I wouldn't put the whole logo on it, just be very clear. Sweetwater Pines Assisted Living Care Home, you're really just trying to get the word out. But here when we had our open house, I had these signs made and I had them right out by the street there, and it was on a Saturday. So I know people knew because we had people from around the corner saying, hey, let me come see, this is great. So they want to know what it is. So that's one way to do it with those signs. How you doing, Dave?
Good.
Good. Feel all right?
Yeah.
All right. So this right here, I'll show you, we have a lot more leeway here because we have one resident, his name is Ray, and then Lucy is the caregiver who's here. And we've been pretty much doing live-ins. So they're here for like 3-4 days at a time taking care, because while we have 1, 2, 3 residents, we can easily do that. So we'll go through, we can do a lot more questions and so on. It's still the same thing with money. There may be family and stuff that comes in, so we can talk out of earshot with that. When we go into the house, on the left-hand side is pretty much where the bedrooms were that existed already. So we didn't have to do a whole lot with that. You'll see 3 bedrooms there, and I'll show you what we did do. Then there's the master bedroom. Then there's the front room, the kitchen. Then on the right-hand side, which is over here, this used to be just a garage, and it's a 4-car garage. So this is where we actually poured the floor up. So with a garage floor, it's usually a step down, poured it up. 4 bedrooms and 2 Jack and Jill baths. So the whole space itself got used, you'll see. Then there's the kitchen, and then in the back was a bedroom, which was kind of a nice but small bedroom. So we expanded that and added another bathroom over there. So it's about $200,000 worth of renovations, kind of went overboard, but it's very nice, so you'll see. And again, Ray is there, he'll be happy to see people. I'm sure he'll be very overwhelmed and so on, but it's a lot easier here. So then we'll go take a look around and we can talk more out in the back. And then Dave Prom, turn over here and say, hey Dave.
Hey Dave. Hey Dave.
Dave is my realtor. I've said it's very hard to find an excellent realtor, and I'm so blessed to have Dave for years now, so working with him. And if anybody needs or wants a realtor, has any at all, feel free to get Dave's card, talk to him. He's going to show us, do we have at least 2 to see?
We got at least 2.
Cool. So we're going to, Dave's going to come.
Interesting ones.
Oh, interesting ones. Okay.
Oh, good.
Right. After this, we're going to go have lunch. Then we're going to go see some. We're doing great on time, so this is good. Usually I'm kind of rushed, and this is a lot better. So let's come on in and see. So one thing I do want to point out right here, you'll notice right here, there's this little ramp right here, and then I'm raised up a little bit. When we came, this came to here, and there was a little step up right here. So what we had done was we poured this gorgeous thing where it went out and it tapered down, and it was wonderful. It was amazing. It was beautiful. So the building inspector came and saw it and goes, nope, can't do it. It's got to be at least 3 feet out from the door, flat surface, before you can go down. And I'm talking, it didn't start pitching until there. So literally we had to take the whole thing out, and it's like, all right, you want it out? We'll take it out. So literally blow the whole thing out. Then we poured this here, and I still have yet to figure out this ramp. So this is just a temporary ramp right here for $125. It's got handles, you can take it with you. But the funny thing is, talking about inspections, to get through the inspection while I'm waiting for this to come, I had my handyman build this wood ramp. Piece of plywood, 2 2x4s, and it was here. It's still out in the backyard. So the inspector comes up, did not say a word. So this crappy little thing was there, and no problem at all. You can have that, but you can't have this gorgeous cement thing. So there it is. So we're going to go inside. Welcome to Sweetwater Pines.
Hey! Hey! Made it! Welcome to my place! No Lady Gaga here? No Lady Gaga. So you made it.
Hi, John.
Hi, everybody. So this is Sweetwater Pines. Okay. What do you think? Pretty big, huh? Yeah. So lots of room, you know, if you're going to live with 10 people under the same roof. This is definitely the way I would want to do it. So, nice entryway, segues into a little area where you can sit with your family and visit. We also have a TV room over here, kind of split. This is Ray. Hey! Look at all my friends. Look at all my friends. I told him I was bringing a couple friends over because they don't care. It's okay.
Much better.
As you can see, it's really spacious. We got our dining room over here. got the kitchen over there. That's kitchen's a paradise right there. Let me tell you something. I'll cook in there any day. But you know, double oven, warmer drawers, you know, microwave, flat surface, dishwasher. You know, you got everything you got. Oh, they were all there too. Everything was there. So, so anyways, this is the kitchen. I'm going to kind of take you. This is what I call the. This is kind of like the master.
Nice to home. Hello, Lucy.
Beautiful place.
How are you? Yes, thank you.
Anticipating
how long? You know, we're one came right away.
And you guys have a big open house, where's that?
I would say within a month we should have 3 or 4, and then at that point I think it'll fill up very quickly. Just then it becomes I've got to get in. It's always hardest to get the first, so we're very quickly and they love the place. It was great, and we've had lots of great showings. So we may have somebody else next week, and then I think 3 or 4 won't take long at all. Then moving up from there, and then this is the kind of home where you give me your impression. You've seen lots of homes.
Yeah. How long it will take?
Well, how
I
how
said
does this
6 months.
compare?
I would just guess it would be full in 6 months. But
Definitely.
this is the higher end. I mean, homes. I mean, you know, you're not. And you get to a certain point if somebody has that much money and they can afford to start their own home and have everybody come to them, they may. You know, so you know, this is the very high end of what's available.
Yeah, when most people come here with a website, they know that it's going to be high end, and when I mention this, it's not even bad enough. No, because they were spending $9,000. And now they're like, so they're not.
And then somebody has to coordinate all that care. Like, who's the one that's putting together all the people that are coming in?
You did that for years.
Yeah, did it for 8
and if
years.
there's a gap, who's going to come in?
Right.
For
So this is
my mom.
like,
And
you
yeah,
know.
I mean, like I said, if I would have known this a lot earlier, and I told you, we put her in a nursing home thinking it'd kill her. She had a colostomy. And it actually, she got better because she had people around her. So, I love the color.
You love the color?
I thought it was too dark before.
Well, here's one.
You've changed this
This
since the
is
last
different.
time I
Come
was
on,
here.
no, let me show you.
Yeah, well, it changed since the first time.
Or no, the bedrooms are different. That's what it is, right?
Yeah, so I started to notice little things like right where you are, see, right where your foot is. See this little piece here? I started to notice that. So they called the manufacturer, they're like, well, blah, blah, blah. So we fix it, and it's like, I'm noticing more. And then after about a month or two, they're like, well, it's defective. Excuse me?
Yeah.
The product's defective. So we'll replace the product. It's like, holy, it's not the product, it's the installation, that's the expense. So it took us about a month to battle through that. So then basically they gave us enough to replace the product with the wood floor and enough to pay for the general areas. So we left the bedrooms the way they are. We have all the material in storage, so later on we'll do the bedrooms. But that's why it's a different color. So there it is, and there it is.
This is much more pine. The light.
This just lightens up the whole house.
It does. Yeah.
So this is wood and this is the vinyl. So you wouldn't recommend doing the vinyl just because
Not
you have
after-
to have
not-
a good install.
Well, not after, well, it wasn't the installer, it was the it's material.
That's why I'm moving in, guys.
No, I already called this.
This is where it used to be a doorway that went into a study. So we blocked that in, and on the other side is a separate bedroom. There's a closet there, and there was a closet here. So we blocked that off, and now it's a bathroom. So from the other side, separate from the whole house, there's a guest room. So they can, people, family visiting from out of town can stay here, totally separate, and they can come and eat, stay with mom and dad. The backyard, when you see it, very nice. But taking out just, it's one of the homes, so if the grandkids quote unquote come, they can enjoy the pool. We poured the walk so that they can walk, put in some benches so they can enjoy it. Theoretically, you know, and some sitting areas.
I noticed not a lot of rooms.
Here, yeah, well, because you get more money with a private room. But like all of the rooms in the last house were big enough you could have 2, for the most part. There was 2 that are too small, 3 that are, I wouldn't do that. Here, all the rooms are big enough you could easily have 2, except for that side, which we'll go to, where some of the rooms are, yeah, smaller. But private rooms, you're going to get more money.
And the max is 10.
Here, or oh, just in general. The first house we saw 2,500. The next house is 3,500. So here, if I were to do it, well, not quite half, it's maybe 3/4. So you're not saving a whole lot. So.
How big is this?
I don't really know.
It's like an acre.
Yeah, it's probably close to an acre.
You paid what, 800 for this?
Yeah, $795.
So, gorgeous. What is the guideline for the 5 bedrooms? Is it just 5 beds or?
No, it's 5 beds, so it's not 5 bedrooms. It's per bed.
5 residences.
Yeah.
5 people.
There's
5
something
beds.
under zoning now? I'm just talking a zoning thing.
In Arizona here,
Mhm.
in Phoenix, right? And this here is Scottsdale, but in Phoenix you can have 5 or less in any home. So actually, that's a state.
Or 5 beds?
Well, 5 beds, which is 5 people. 2 people, they can share a bed, but that's 2 people. So I'm going to say 5 people to clarify. Whether that's in 2 bedrooms or 5 bedrooms, it's 5 people. So you can do 5 people in house after house, no restriction at all. When you want to go 6 to 10, then you can't be too close to another one. All right, so that's the first thing.
Is it financially sound to do 5 bedrooms?
Not really, unless you are the owner operator. If you're the owner operator, caregiver manager, you can make 5, 7, 8 grand a month. But if you're the business person,
I've been crunching numbers and it just does not make sense.
no, do 10. Do 10. If your home isn't big enough, and do 7 or 8, that's better. But your biggest expense is the caregivers. So once you go above 4, I'm going to say, now it's really hard for one caregiver to do all of that. So,
Would you say a 2-car garage would be 2 bedrooms? Is that what you're saying? Like
easy.
Jack and Jill,
Yeah.
basically?
In a 2-car garage, just let's say it's 20 by 22, which is pretty common. You could do 2 bedrooms and a Jack and Jill bathroom, or 2 half baths in there. You don't even have to have the bathrooms, but that's a real plus if you're going to go to that extent. Because typically a garage is slanted, and typically it's a drop down, so you're going to have to pour concrete anyway. So if you're going to that extent to do plumbing, and if you do it, usually like here for instance, the plumbing goes along the side of the house over here. So to add plumbing, you just go out that side wall. So if you were going to, let's say, add an addition here, and you want to do plumbing, just put the bathroom on that side, and life is a lot easier.
So Gene, what are you going to charge for this master suite?
This master suite is 10.
And that bathtub obviously isn't going to get used. You just
No, the bathtub will not
are you
get
going to
used.
fill it in with sand? And...
It's just a nice feature. Maybe put some plants in there or something. I don't know, but it's a nice feature. The bathtub won't get used.
Right.
I mean, it might, but it's there because if you take it out, it's an expense to remove something. There was a fireplace, for instance, right here inside the house, so an actual working fireplace, which I absolutely love.
Right.
But that's where we wanted to put the TV. So what do you do? So my thought is, that's not the right place for the fireplace. So literally, we just took off the fascia and just put a wall over it and hang the TV in front of it.
Even that tub looks like a regular nice master bedroom thing. So it reminds them like being at home or something.
Yeah.
I think it's a selling point probably.
If you took it out, then you could put a couch, and we would make it look great. But still, it's all that extra effort of doing it. May as well just leave it. This room right here, by the way, for those of you who didn't hear, this used to be just connected to the master. You would go through the master bathroom, and it's like an office. I don't have the key for it right now, but it's a separate. Now it's a separate room with a bathroom connected to it. So a full bath, separate room, little office setup. So if you're visiting mom from out of town and you need a place to stay, you can stay right here. And then you can come and join us for dinner, come out, play basketball, swim, enjoy.
We rent that, or it's just free?
$100 a night.
$100, that's nice.
That's cool. That's pretty cheap. Pretty cheap compared to staying
And
in a
you're
hotel. I mean, if you came to see mom, may as well really see her.
So what are you anticipating that this will rent for?
The master, the ask is 10.
10, okay.
10.
Be
And
good
there'll
for
be
a
some-
couple.
It'd be great for a couple, and if it was somebody asked about pricing for a couple, I think you did. So when it comes to that, it's still, the other rooms are basically 5, and I'm talking clearly now price-wise because Ray is in there and he can't hear us anyway, so it's 5, for all the rooms. Right now our goal is to just fill it up, right? So 5. Forget the level of care, forget anything else, it's just 5. Later on, we'll start ratcheting it up, but 10 is the ask here. So if somebody comes in and says, I really want the master, but I only have 7.
Great.
Welcome to Sweetwater Pines. I'd rather have it filled. Really.
Right.
And so come on in, and so on. We have a call in from Hospice of the Valley yesterday. Called in. I didn't get the call till today. They have somebody. She saw the house at our open house 2 weeks ago. So Hospice of the Valley, no referral fees. So that's a plus. Somebody that can move in, but their budget is $3,500, and they want this is the location. So that's much less than I want. But if I have openings right now, am I willing to do something? I'll work with you. And then where does the $3,500 come from? As I dig a little deeper, it could be just like I said. I've got 120. I need it to last 4. Well, great. Let's front load the first part, and then we'll lower it later on. And that's just I think a smart way to do it, because later on may never come.
Help me understand that front loading. I would have thought it the other way, but I'm not financial minded, so.
Okay, so if somebody has a certain amount of money and they're trying to spread it out over the course of, they think mom's going to last for 4 years. First, got it. I see how they did their math, but the reality for me is that they may not make it 4 years. They may make it 6 months.
Okay.
So if I get the proper rate or a higher rate now, and then it's lesser later on, they may not make it there. So I'm not going to charge them double up front, but if I could get the fair rate plus a little more, that's a real bonus, I think.
And how long have you been marketing this place?
We have had people wanting this location to be open for a long time. It took us longer than we wanted. Somebody had asked me why. Wayne did. Because when we were in the process of doing this, we had somebody that we are in contact with that does sober homes. Now, sober home is where people who have addictions, whether it be alcohol or whatever, they go through detox, then they need a place to live before they go back home to their own environment. Most of the time when you think sober homes, you're thinking kind of low budget, 4 people in a room paying $150 a week, and it's really sketchy and so on. Well, obviously there's higher end sober homes where people are paying, $4,000 a month to be in a much nicer place. Or it's $4,000 and there's 2 people in the room and so on. It's a whole different game. It's a whole different psychology, issues, problems, and so on. But we were actually at the point where we were going to lease them the house and for a nice number, and then they were going to operate the business. Part of that was predicated on the fact that the real money in that business is what's called the inpatient or outpatient care. So they have to attend meetings, and that's what insurance will pay for. And they pay $150 an hour for 9 hours a week of meetings. So the goal was to where the basketball court is, we were going to put up a nice big extra building over there. And they were going to enter through the side over here, come to the meetings right here, which really, it was these people coming there instead of going to another location. So we'd be collecting $10,000 a month on the insurance from them to attend meetings. And then they'd live here in the house where we could say it's free. Because if I can get 10 from them attending the meetings here versus someplace else. Then as I dug a little bit deeper, because again, there's nobody out teaching a course on it, right? So as I dug a little deeper and realized what this gentleman was suggesting is not quite proper, because to go to that meeting, it's supposed to be in a commercial location. Through the city, I can get it done. And I talked to the planner, what do we do? How can we do it? Well, you can do this, this, and this. But having it there shouldn't be done that way. So his work around that was, well, we're going to say the license is in another location, but the meetings are actually here. Now that's borderline insurance fraud. So once I got down that rabbit hole a little bit, it's like, stop this train. We're not going that route. So that was about a 2-month little misdirection. But I learned a lot through the process, and eventually that may end up being something, because I've met people who do that very successfully, but in a different situation. So then the next one that took about an extra month was the flooring. So in the flooring, you'll notice in the bedrooms the wood is darker, and in the other areas it's lighter. So what happened was we tried a new product. It's called luxury vinyl, and that's what it's called. And that's the darker stuff in the bedrooms. It's got cushion underneath, it's vinyl on top, cushion underneath, so it's a little bit softer. So it was like, this looks good, it feels good, but after it was down for about a month, no traffic in the house, I started noticing some of the corners were starting to peel up a little bit. So when I called the manufacturer, they said, well, just call somebody to fix it and so on. So we did, but then it kept these corners are peeling. So call them, and after about 2 months, they're like, well, it's defective product. Well, when did you find out, Well, we're telling you now. So they were more than willing to replace the product. And it's like, well, it's not the product, it's the installation. No, it's the installation. So we said, so it took us another month to get through the, let's work out who's going to pay for what. So that room is now stacked with a bunch of the wood that we ended up using in all the common areas. So everything went on hold for about a month when we went through this whole thing. Then we had to tear out the floor, put in the new floor. They gave us enough to do most of the house, but not all of it. So that's why the bedrooms are the way they are. The wood is stacked in there, and we'll finish that part later. But the open house that we had officially was just 2 weeks ago on Friday. So that was 2 weeks ago on Friday. Tuesday, so 4 days later, was our first move-in. We've had a half dozen showings, lots of people, everybody loves it. It's just a matter of the coordination. The first one's always the hardest. Then after that, they're looking for what is the community like, the people and all of that, the experience. So until you have that established, people don't know exactly what they're getting. So once we get to 3 or 4, I think getting to 10 will be very quick. And based on the showings and so on, I think we'll be at 2, 3, 4 very shortly, like within 30 days, based on what we've had come through. And then from there, going up should be easier.
What's your break even on number of residents?
I'll go through numbers tomorrow in regards to different ones, but it depends on how you run things, because the house itself has one expense, caregivers are another. If I only have one caregiver until we get to 4 or 5, that saves a lot. So it just depends. I can't say 7 or 6 at the beginning. So we'll look at a spreadsheet and show you how that kind of moves up like that.
But right now, as long as Ray is here, you've got one caregiver 24/7.
Correct.
You can't be left alone.
Oh yeah, no, there's somebody here 24/7, no doubt, at all times for the rest of its existence.
Yeah.
So,
I'll say. Yeah.
So what will, he does. He gets tons of attention.
Better pay him to be nice.
And this is where we did that TV interview, right? So there was back there where Nurse Holly was doing her thing, and then the rest were interviewed in the front room. So those of you who have seen this side, and those of you who haven't seen the other side beyond the kitchen, I'll take you in over there so you can see that. Any other questions while we're out here? The wood? I don't know. The manufacturer of the luxury vinyl, I don't know, but that's actually the name. Like when you go to a floral place and say luxury vinyl. I think there's a stack of it actually outside by the garbage bin. Seriously, boxes. I think literally when manufacturers make things and they say lifetime warranty or whatever, they don't understand Arizona. So I think it literally could have been that they took this product and put it in a warehouse in Arizona to be shipped out. And if you have a warehouse and it gets to 140 degrees there, it could just bake that material. So he could have said defective, meaning it doesn't work in Arizona, but it works perfectly fine for you. So all he told us was defective, and we're more than willing to pay for the material. Well, that ain't good enough. Say it again.
Because it's defective in Arizona.
It's defective in Arizona. Well, it's like even outdoor stuff, outdoor furniture. It'll last for a lifetime. Not here. You know, things get baked.
Where'd you get your little picnic table benches?
Those at Costco right now. See those benches right there? Those are great. And there's little latches on the back. It flips up to a half table. Beautiful for $100. Those things are great.
And this is astroturf?
This is fake grass. So, those who want to see the other side, the other bedrooms beyond the kitchen, will go over this way.
I don't.
He's got a contract with a hedge fund to build 100 of those.
It's broom the grass, right? Sweep the grass.
Where'd you get that?
IKEA, $125.
Oh, that's awesome.
Oh, is that what that is?
Sweet.
Yeah.
He always kind of burned it off.
It stays green. I love it.
Thank you, Lucy, for letting us interrupt your day.
You're welcome.
Come on through. In the kitchen here, all of this granite top was replaced, so it's all new. The cabinets we just painted, they were a dark wood kind of a deal. The table you can see here is the same as Pearson, so we went with the same exact table, the round tables with the chairs. Just a cool little setup. It's very flexible this way instead of one big square table. Easy to get around it if you have a wheelchair or the chair, so that works out great. There was a doorway here that went into an office. So that went into an office, so we closed it off and made it, yeah, I was thinking we could enclose that. You went into this room?
Yeah.
Oh, good.
This is a great room.
So, yeah, feel free to take a look. This is where it ended before, so that the house came to here, and there was a French door that was right here. So we extended it out to make it just a lot bigger, and then added in that bathroom. So this is the secondary bathroom.
So you pushed the wall out?
This was just added. Again, the end of the house was right here. So this was decked underneath. It was just decked. So we just ceiling was here. We just poured the floor up, ceiling down. Yeah, the other side there was a bathroom that was. When we look at the bathroom, you'll see it ended right there. There was a door that went to the outside. We just added that bathroom there. So. Even the laundry room's nice. So this was a doorway to the garages. So you open it, now you're in the garage. So this was just one big 4-car garage, basically. Let you see, this is one of our smallest bedrooms right here. And then
so
this.
What's your, sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
What's your, I guess, vision on getting this 100% occupied? What would be the goal? Another 6 months, or?
I'm thinking this. I always put in my budget basically 5 months, 2 months, 5 months. That's what I put in my budget to make sure that I got it. But this house, based on what we've seen in regards to the showings, the prices, the reaction, I'm going to say 3 months, right? But I think we'll be at 3, 4 within a month, and I think we'll be full within a couple of months after that. It's interesting because Jody, who has a tremendous amount of experience, she has a certain perspective. She works in a different town, a different city. This is not really where she specializes in, and she also has a certain price range that she's comfortable with. So when she sees a $5,000, it's like, whoa, that's a lot, I can't. Now other people who are used to placing people here, they go 5,000, they're like, got it, good. So it's always perspective on what somebody is used to. It's the same thing with the residents. If somebody's looking for a $3,000 room and you tell them 5, it's like, oh my goodness. So this design was kind of predicated, you see the skylight there?
Yeah.
That was already there. In the garage, there was a skylight there and a skylight here. So we had to kind of design it around, let's make sure that is in the hallway, and then the way this opens up. So that's why you have certain angles and so on. And this room is designed so you can have a bed going this way or this way. And another Jack and Jill bathroom.
Jack and Jill. So, what do you cost $1 million on this?
Oh yeah, yeah. This is $1 million and $1,000,001 for carrying costs. Yeah. So.
The purchase price on that?
Purchase 8, $795, $200 to fix, and $100,000 for carrying costs and so on. $1,000,001.
Nice though.
This sprinkler system was about 15,000 to buy. Yeah.
You said it's so much a square foot, easily, right? Square foot house.
It's about $250 a square foot. So to have another exit, because if this door wasn't here, all these people, the way to get out now, that's quite a path to go. So it's just a lot easier to say.
Do you have an issue where they give you a certain amount of times for the residents to get out of the building?
That's a good question. I'm not sure how the fire chief looks at it. I know distance is one thing, and I think 50 feet sticks in my mind. Like, it can't be more than 50 feet to get to an exit. So when you think about, that doorway to get to the exit, we may or may not be able to get it. Just from a safety standpoint, though, to put a door in here, for $1,000 I got a door, a lot safer. Fire extinguishers, I think it's 75 feet. So you have to have one within 75 feet, but again, I'd rather have more than less.
Right. I was asking because they were telling us in New Jersey, the resident that you have in there has to be able to get out within 3 minutes.
Within 3 minutes?
Within 3 minutes.
Well, that's certainly a reasonable rule. You would hope it's a lot faster than that, but 3 minutes, that may be for even somebody who's bedbound.
Yes.
To be able to get them out, and if a caregiver has to handle 10 people, think about that for a
second.
second.
Well, then our concern, we're talking about 2.5 stories, so on the 3rd floor where there's 2 bedrooms.
And that's where, again, you may have different types of fire escapes to get them down, and issues change.
Right.
Interesting.
Well, it's concerned with the 3 stories.
Yeah, it is. That's why single level is good.
Yeah.
And then this is the one last bedroom here. This was the office off the kitchen. So there was a doorway there off the kitchen. So what we did was we...
All right, so originally this house was planned to be a 10-bed facility. People ran out of money or whatever happened, and the guy who bought it, another one of those people that I know, they've gotten a hold of me because he's looking for some way to get out of this he's in a financial issue. So the house has been reconfigured to be a house instead of a 10-bed, and so there's a lot of stuff that has to happen, but it can be bought very, very right. So when you're going through, think about Sweetwater. It didn't look like that when we went in there. It looked like a house, and it just had to be reconfigured. So it's about halfway through construction. There's a lot of unfinished and finished stuff. A lot of really great things have been done to it. That's completely foam, 6 to 8 inches of foam, sprayed in foam, roof, sides, everything. It only, even in the 120-degree temperature, it only hits ever 85 degrees. inside.
You're saying it was a 10 and they're in their remodel?
So it was originally designed to be a 10 bed. He bought it from those people that had financial problems. Reconfigured, it was already a slab and everything was done. He reconfigured the drawings with an architect to make it a house. And so here it is. He's got the plans on, he doesn't have the original ones from the 10 bed, he's got the ones that he's done, which are in the kitchen, and he put them over the stove so you can take a look at it. Yeah, and he doesn't have them.
So the plumbing may already be there.
Well, the good thing about this is a lot of the plumbing can be tied in. This is a septic neighborhood, so it isn't septic. It's all brand new, but he made it so that things can be reconfigured and reconstructed so you can just run it down the outside of the house. So it'd be very easy. So we'd have to talk about that. That's going to be a conversation we have to have one-on-one because it's going to be creative. So,
and the owner is here, but he's out taking a walk?
Right, he's with one of the other people that were in another class of jeans that I'm working with, and they're walking and talking together out in the yard. So it's a big yard, and keep in mind that it's just, out back it's just dirt. And it goes all the way back to the blue container that you can see. So there's a lot of just unfinished yard.
You said the septic would sustain for 10 acres, so the original
It's a 6,000 gallon septic, but it can be expanded. He configured it so it could be expanded.
So just let me suggest this too, since the owner's here, just kind of monitor what you say and how you say it, because if you decide you want to do something here, you would want to reveal your cards.
Yeah.
Right. So just talk amongst yourselves. I don't know who he is. I haven't seen him. I'm just saying that to you. Hal is a student who was here in yes. So from Panama, yeah. So he's here taking a look from Minnesota, right? So he's been out a couple of times looking for a house here. So again, just doing what we're supposed to be doing.
Right.
Say it again.
His daughter goes to school.
Yes, his daughter goes to ASU, and so he's looking to start one here. So Dave's been showing him around, so he's actually here right now. But I'm just saying that just in case you say, oh, this is amazing. You know, you might want to keep that, oh, this needs work, that needs work.
Yeah, all that needs work in here, I'm just going to warn you right now.
This is a Scottsdale address or Phoenix?
This is a Scottsdale address, yeah. And on the other side of Shea is Paradise Valley.
So, and those are both very good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's go in, and should we meet in the back?
Let's just kind of walk through and...
Okay.
Amazing people.
I'm not sure why you need a chandelier.
Yeah.
What? Just a little bit crazy. Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Somebody was pointing that out to you, just joking with you.
No, just one of those ads that pop up. So.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
You weren't even looking for it.
No.
How you doing?
It's got a good start. You do what you do.
That's office. That's not
No, it originally was, yes. Originally it was approved for 10 beds.
In this neighborhood.
It's $1.5 million. We go a block that way, the house is $1 million. So this kind of depends on the neighbors.
Hey, I remember you. Good.
They lived here since like 1960. So a lot of the homes are original residents. And so the same is still in that condition of this type of cost.
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Rehab on that. You gotta get some.
You should put your leg in the mouth.
Say cheese.
Yep.
Head in the shark's mouth.
That's another fun plaything.
Something. Yeah.
What brought you here?
Chandler?
Yeah, no, thank you.
Today, he's in the future as they get.
So input on senior design is thinking about the blueprints for the senior. So that could be some good input. Alrighty. So
Is there anything in the fridge?
All right, so that was interesting, yes?
Yes.
So the gentleman who was inside there by the picture windows, his name is Hal. He was in the class about 2 months ago, and so this is one that he's seriously considering putting together. To answer some of the questions, Maria, you were asking, is it a homeowners association? The answer is no, no homeowners association here. There was another question about zoning. So supposedly they've already checked the zoning with the city to see if we can do it. The answer is yes. What other questions came up? You may have had questions on.
The shark go with it.
The shark comes with it. No, I don't. Yes.
Whoa. Oh my gosh. Look at that window.
From here and somehow they got away with putting on these lights, so I'm surprised.
Not my area of expertise, to be honest.
So this must have no HOA here.
Whatever that number ends up in the transition.
You guys like that view?
If you bring the head back, to the state, plus the state
How were they with your sister? Oh, good, okay. No, something's going on internally. It's beyond my...
This one is going to be the window house. And the one we just saw is going to be Shark Tank.
Yeah.
So tomorrow when we talk about them, we will talk about the houses that way. So this is the window house. All right, let's go see number 3. Dave's going to take us there.
Lot coverage, right? Yeah. I'm sure.
Do you have any assisted livings now?
Yeah, one.
One? Oh, that's right. Sure.
Is
that one all filled up and stuff too?
I don't know.
Right.
I don't really care that much.
Right.
So
doing it, okay, most places, the most is 50%. Right.
You got a guaranteed view. Nobody's building behind
Right.
you.
And you got all these rich people all around you.
Yeah.
This is exciting to me, but it's all torn up because it's like you can do anything you want.
Lots of things. Stepping this up.
You said there is an HOA for this area.
That's what Dave said, so it doesn't mean you can't do it, it's just that becomes part of the process. In the driveway.
Just put a little driveway to the back.
Plenty of room back there.
Okay, this one here, this is the one I was telling you where we saw it on the last training, and there was two homes next to each other. This one here, and then the one just past it. Same owner. It looks like there's a car in front of the other one. I don't know what it is yet, but this was the one we're going to go look at. It's vacant. It is. This was operated. Dave will tell us better. I believe this is the one that was the 10-bed assisted living facility. So hopefully there it is. Electric is on, because I remember last time when we were in there, it was so dark it was hard to know. So leave breadcrumbs. There's a lot of, I seem to remember a lot of switchbacks and so on. So we'll take a look at it here. The asking price, we'll ask Dave, but it's in the $650 range right there.
I got another one too.
Hang on for a second, my hands are full. We'll get you there. So in the $650 range, and so this one again could be, let's go see it, because now the lights will be on, it'll be a lot easier to see. And so we're going to see this one back in the bus and back to the hotel. We're almost done. Are you having fun though?
Oh yeah.
Good. All right, here we go.
And 1031, a couple of them.
All right. Let's see if we can count up all the bedrooms.
Someone's have numbers on the doors.
Okay. We got 6, so...
Oh, they changed some stuff. They changed a lot of stuff. They've been upgraded. They cleaned it up. They cleaned it up. This kitchen was a mess before. This is where you can have your 1980s board meeting. They did a lot of work here, Jim. The kitchen, they completely fixed that up. Remember what it looked like before? I don't remember, but it was near that.
Or was it the other house? I'm sorry, the one next door.
No, that one was really bad next door, but this one it was not like that.
Okay.
And that other room, they redid the floors.
So this definitely was the 10.
Oh, I got it all on tape.
Ladies only, caregiver room, or break room, laundry.
Well, this
This bathroom, what's that? What's in that room?
It's like a maze.
It's like a utility room. Oh, it's a utility room.
Oh, this is the best room. Oh no, where's that one room where the ceiling gets lower? Oh, over here is the best room. The ceiling gets lower, like the Willy Wonka.
Really?
Yeah, this house is a maze.
Yeah, I know it's made of people that live here. Yeah.
I don't know, I never looked into it. When they go in for
Not too long after.
somewhere, when they get out of the drug.
Yeah, walk over here, you get taller.
Oh yeah, this is cool. Oh, I do. I feel super tall.
They end up going somewhere to a transition house.
A halfway house.
So like goes to the ground.
Sure. All that, or what it's called.
This is a half line, I guess.
Oh, Lord. Wait, where does that go? Does this all go in a loop?
Yes.
But there's not your hookup for washer, for washer.
Right.
I wonder if they added that on later. This used to be,
Where are we?
you can if you just keep walking.
It's amazing. Oh, yeah. Well, you think about caregiver and people over there.
Now this shouldn't be. This is a quarterback, right? This can't be considered a halfback.
If it has a tub, then it's.
Oh, this is just so
no, that's
small.
a half.
Oh look, they got free movies.
Several times, and they wanted to sell it, so it's for sale.
Because that would certainly coming in the front door and you got a wall in front of you, that's not really.
Sure, add your cart, yep, absolutely.
But what do you do there? Tear out the kitchen?
Yeah.
An entry and move it out 8 feet, and then put a new exterior doorway. That might be the solution.
Oh, you mean here, like push that?
Just saying, it's like everything was great with the front.
Go simple, like here, open the door and just make this a really nice setting area right here. So put the really classy furniture here, some nice artwork, and it doesn't look horrible. If this one were right in these office, now it's a problem. Here, not so bad. It's just not that attractive. So, you know. Well, I was saying that when you come in, it's the first thing they're going to see. So just make this a really nice furniture, staging, and
This is where you put the shark.
well, your welcome table right here, flowers, sign in. So it's not bad, and it is separate. So paint that one.
Oh yeah.
So just scrape it off, paint it over.
What happens is, like, let's say two ladies live here and they have their own big private room. They lay somewhere around money and they really get along and say, oh, all types of families and these ladies are more so that they're fine. Right. Sometimes those relationships.
This room, you see how the ceiling gets lower?
I'm so short, I don't notice things like
Well,
that. Oh, yeah.
Walk to the end and you get taller.
Oh, yeah. Got a nice little slope to it.
Somewhere in here.
You get your own toilet. Yeah, that's nice.
How big is
So figure out a way to
You know where Gene's at?
8,000.
And we have one in a really good kind of really good school district, like Eisenhower. The lady was so high maintenance that I told it because I was just like, this is not.
Tenant in there. Why did you sell it?
Well, because it was that caliber of price point and tenant that I
They
just
want
didn't.
everything
I didn't want to deal with
perfect.
it. I like the.
Something like that, so that it's a farm league for this. You need help from one side. I like that better. So do you see the potential there?
Yeah.
All right. So with something like that, obviously it needs a lot more work than the ones we've seen. But the one that we saw before, the window house, the glass house, to me that was really exciting because it's already torn up and you've got to fix everything anyway. So I feel better about that than the one before that, which we'll call Shark Tank. Right? In Shark Tank, it's already there and you're going to rip up walls and I just feel, but you can certainly do it in either one. I think Hal is pretty serious about buying that first one, which is great, and maybe having a busload of people come to see it, you know, puts a little fire under his butt, because we all need that at times, right? So that's a good thing. Again, this is the other house that this guy has here. It's leased right now, and so that's off the market at this point. But that guy there is, there's a lot of things in there too that I think you could dig in and find issues with. You know, potential problems with whether it be wiring or whether it be AC or whatever it may be. So, but there's certainly potential, and I think the location is good. You got a busy street here, so that's all good. You have off-street parking, and you could put parking in the front, so a lot of potential. I think it certainly is there. So what we're going to do tonight is obviously just relax and have fun with dinner, but then tomorrow we're going to analyze the numbers on all these different things. So we're going to look at each one that we saw today, talk through the numbers of the existing houses, then we'll talk through the potential for the other houses. Then if you have other ones you want to look at, but that's kind of how we all tie it together. You know, step one, and I asked Hal, I said, before I left there, the Shark Tank, thank you. Before I left there, I said, Hal, did you check zoning? And he said, yes, David did. So it may have been one that David called on, I don't know, but that's the first thing. Don't go under contract if you can't get the zoning, one. Two, I said, homeowners association, can you do it? And David said, there is no homeowners association there. So those are the two big issues for can I move forward. All the other stuff, you know, is after that. So we saw a lot. Did you learn a lot? Was it fun to see it in person?
Yeah.
Good. So the context of seeing something live and in person. Gail, can you close that above you? Just reach up. Can you reach it? Donna, thank you. So the context of seeing it live and in person, it really changes things. And it probably, how many of you learned something new today just by seeing it live? Your hand? Two hands, I love that. And you can only get that by being here and seeing it live. So that's why when I talk about this part, day two being the most important, I truly think it is. So tomorrow when we debrief, and yes, we will go over your homework. So even though the dog ate it last night, right, he's barfing it up tonight so that you can do it in the morning. So we will go through the homework tomorrow, and we'll also, but tonight's about having fun, just being together and so on.
It's raining.
Want to take you on the big tour?
Is that what you wrote on
I wrote it on there.
Got it. So did you see the slide inside? You lead the way.
Okay, watch your step.
All right, that's it.
While you're in the bathroom.
I mean, you only plan on being married once, don't you? So it only makes sense to really live it up, doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah, absolutely. So what we learned today, especially from doing the field trips, number one was learning more about Gene's places and seeing the different levels of how his homes look, so we have a better idea of what the end goal will be. And then seeing some of the properties that were listed to get an idea of, all right, how can you kind of take that vision and implement it into this type of home? And it was really interesting seeing that and having a more real life experience than just going, oh, okay, let me search, I see some pictures, you know, what can happen here. Yeah, so actually hearing the numbers, having a real estate agent there to really kind of walk you through what the deal would look like, how you can kind of structure this home, things to look out for even if the home looks like it's completely ready to go. And that was incredibly beneficial. Did you read it?
She covered it all. Yep.
Yeah. You know, I learned how to kind of take a different eye to a property. I've renovated a lot of property and pretty much kept it the same way. I may have moved things here and there, but never completely reconfigured a house to this scope. So it was good to see everything in person.
Oh, there's a lot of information, so much more to know than you would have imagined. Yesterday was just so much information, and I have to accept that we aren't going to be able to grasp it all at one time. I think as we process our own properties, as we go through the process ourselves, we'll be able to develop or figure it out. That's not word. Anyway, today was wonderful because we got to see finished properties, and then we also got to go see potential properties, and those were also at various stages. So tomorrow we get to crunch the numbers and look at what it might take to get one of those potential properties to look like something we would actually own and run and be proud of. And so that'll be exciting to actually put the numbers to it and find out what it would take.
What to look for, when you're analyzing them, what's good, what's bad, the interaction with people, getting the other people's opinion, very valuable.
What about all the knowledge you learned on Friday? Did today help?
It was all there. It was all there. Nothing about it. No, it was all there. It was all good. It just brought the pieces together.
Yeah, you know, I'm very excited about the ALF system because I am excited about the systems that Gene is talking about. I'm excited about the forms and the documents he'll be giving us, and just increasing my knowledge because I didn't know anything before. So getting the information to be able to put it into place is very important to me from somebody who's done it, because then I don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? I can start from a different starting line on that playing field, and that to me is very valuable. And the information is just so great because it's from somebody who's actually doing it, you know? I think that is the best person you could ever learn from is somebody who's actually done it, who's got the homes, who has the real life experience. I would highly recommend it. And you know, it's so wide open right now. I think the opportunity is so big, we don't even get how big it is. I know, but you know what, there's enough. I believe there's enough for anybody that wants to get into it. So, you know, for me, it's always about after this, then going home and taking action.
And good eating with rattlesnake and everything. Amen? All right. So what do you normally do? You just put it down, or you just
I kind of butler it, you know, I'll walk
So
around.
if somebody wants it, they do this?
Yes,
And they do, that's a big one. They do this and then they do that?
Yeah, no double dipping, guys. No double dipping.
Here we go. This
this whole rattlesnake?
That's the cactus fries on the back.
Good.
Rattlesnake on the
Tastes like chicken?
Can I try one of each?
Tastes like fried.
Cactus fry.
It's fried, right?
Yes, it is.
What else could go wrong?
Rattlesnake's gluten-free. The snake is, not the breading.
Good. Oh, I got the venom.
Yeah, you don't get your graduation certificate if you don't eat the snake. Nice.
You need a certificate that says I ate the snake.
You get a T-shirt if you pay for it.
You looking at how he's trying it out.
Oh, there's one side the rattlesnake and one side the other
that's
thing?
the cactus fries.
I got the wrong thing. All right, let's
So
go.
what do you have?
Which one's the rattlesnake then?
This one right here is the rattlesnake.
And what's the other side?
Cactus fries, regular fare.
I'll take some.
Let me try something. Let's say I did. Is there a dip?
Want to try eating rattlesnake?
I can hide it.
So is that the actual rattlesnake carcass, or is that just one you...
That's just the vertebrae.
I know, but it's from the rattlesnake.
Yeah, we make it in the back. We have a farm that we go to that we catch them. So.
Oh, they're farm raised. I want a wild one.
Rattlesnake.
Well, if you go to Vietnam, you can do that. And they grab the live snake and they drain its blood, and you drink the blood.
Drink the blood?
You drink the blood and you chase it with like a shot of something. I don't know.
Definitely chase it with a shot of something.
They had it in Rambo. It was in one of the Rambo movies they showed too.
The source of all quality rituals.
No, but I met a guy who lived in Vietnam for like 2 years. That's the first thing I asked him. I was like, is that true? What I saw in Rambo? Like, do you actually drink? You know, they grab it and they cut it right there. And they drain the whole snake of blood and you drink it. I'm like, why would you do that?
I've had alligator at Papado. And that was actually pretty good. It's kind of tender.
That would scare me.
Cactus fries.
Into what?
Cactus fries.
Nice tonight.
I love it.
It was great. I mean, feeling and touching it was awesome, and just kind of it has my wheels turning in every facet of the business. So
Well, it was nice seeing the difference between all the levels that he has of different facilities, A, B, and C level of facilities. So it's nice actually seeing that.
Well, I think for me, I was having a hard time getting my head around, how were they were fitting so many beds in a house, and I think seeing how they divided up the the rooms, the square footage, how they maximized and utilized the space was pretty impressive, and I think that was the thing that meant the most to me today. Well, learning everything, in a didactic setting where you're learning the facts is one thing, but putting it together with being on site in an actual functioning location, just kind of drove the point home of everything that we learned on Friday. So it was outstanding.
The tours of the spaces brought it to life for me. I was having a hard time just envisioning what it could look like, and then seeing it real made me be able to think, what can I do at home with the houses that I know are existing. So seeing a live example was invaluable. Yeah, it seems doable now. It's not just a theory or an idea on paper anymore.
Really, was actually seeing the houses and seeing what the potential was. We went to the first house, the bottom level, and then we went to the middle level, and then we went to the upper level. And I would say level 3 was the one that seems 3 or 4. 4? Yeah, the second house that we went to, that was the one that was the most attractive to me. It wasn't overwhelming and it wasn't too much work. And if I was going to get busy in this business, I think I would buy something that was already up and running. But that's me personally. Just seeing them today, I was telling my business partner, I was like, really, this is the first class I've ever been to where they actually take you out and you can touch, smell, feel exactly what you're about to get into. So to me, that was priceless. I think Monday we're going to be out there actually making offers. Here we go. We're looking at 4 on Monday.
Oh, wow.
Wednesday when I get back. Yeah. We're going to do this together, but yeah. It's a no-brainer. No-brainer.
Probably looking at the fact that two things. One, all the homes we looked at, you could see the need for the residents that were there. They were all well taken care of, and they all needed that service. That was one thing that hit me, was that this is definitely a need. Number two, it looked like this is a way that you could get your an additional income stream going for you that was totally separate from what you're doing, so a diversification type thing. That's kind of what I saw.
Oh, what did I learn? Oh. Very It affirmed my suspicions of that. John is always about to drop. Then in the classroom. She's got long time. I've been around looking, and what we saw today is 9 o'clock. So she should be. Crunch numbers. Yeah. I'm in real estate investing, and assisted living is the best right now.
Sure, Mom. Sure. Well, one thing I know is the houses here are a lot different than back home. So.
And where's back home?
In Omaha. So it's totally a different thing to look at houses here and how to judge them and compared to back home. But you got to have that open mind and be ready to just do the deal.
I'd like to hear what that.
It was really neat to be able to experience and ask questions of day-to-day operations, because there's big ideas out there, but until you're able to put the nuts and bolts together of how do I get this done, you don't know. And being able to experience that today really helped.
Just being in the home, there's a lot of questions that you think of that you probably wouldn't have thought of without going into the home. Something that you wouldn't have thought of until you start to put up the home and get some people in there. Well, what do we do here? So that's very beneficial to actually be in the home.
I really enjoyed looking at the houses, enjoying the people we were with, and looking forward to finding one and making a hit on it. You can see where you can get the flow of the house, it's safe and it's just working with people. That's about all I got to say.
What about you?
I concur.
You concur?
It was really good. Eye-opening, and I realized that to look at a house trying to sort of be adequate for assisted living, I can't visualize without it. Like the third house we looked at had been set up for. I could see that. It needs to be the visionary. I can't visualize knocking walls down and actually where rooms would go. So I learned that about myself.
Is this your mini-me?
This is my mini-me.
Oh, Lord, look at him. He's a carbon copy.
What have I learned today?
Really? Yeah. So it's really
You see the color of my hair? I'm shooting from him. No. What am I learning? I learned that I have more intuition for properties than I thought I had. It gave me a lot of confidence. And I don't know, I'm just really ready to go. Today really helped me see that what I was thinking in my mind was exactly what really does that make sense? So I would have been able to do it in another way. This is really a vehicle for a nonprofit that we're doing. We're building an orphanage in Lima, Peru, and helping the vets here in Mesa. So this is a vehicle that will give us a residual income to really go help God children. So
that looks good.
We're so bad about this right now.
Family time. We're all like,
Give me time. Shrimp? Give me time. Yeah, I don't know what this is, but...
Beans, both have gluten. That's the only two things on the tray that have gluten.
Grow up.
We've got chicken, barbecue pork, sirloin strips, fried shrimp, corned beans. Jean's prayers holding us off.
Wow, that's the biggest baked potato I think.
Whoever fixes me a plate and a potato, I will not film. Just kidding. Oh, there you go. That's how you do it right there.
Salt and pepper.
Salt and pepper.
I'm a referral placement agency, so I come to this kind of having some knowledge about the industry and the operations of what assisted living homes do already. So what I found the most valuable is learning from Jean and other people here how to put together, real estate deals, what makes sense, how to look at different types of financing for these projects. So that's what I've been interested in learning this week, and I'm getting a lot of good information here so far. Absolutely, I think it's a good way for people to understand what assisted living homes do and what they offer. I was already aware of that, but I think there's so much more to it than just understanding the industry. You have to know what makes sense in terms of an investment and the business side of it. So it's a good overall package of how to do a deal like this.
Carrying a full sentence at a time like it, you're like, yeah, that's pretty sure.
So she can cover a novel, and it's just like, and she understands. So
It was nice to see all the different homes, different levels of homes, the different types of setups, and then the opportunity to do it in other areas.
So at first I didn't know how 10 residents in one house could work. I thought maybe it'd be too packed in the living room area. But after actually visiting the site and seeing that, some are in bed, some are different areas, now I can see how it's fine. I was just concerned that it might be too many, not knowing the setup and actually seeing it, but it makes sense.
I would recommend it to someone. I would say, it's not for everyone. It's, the business, real estate's one thing, but the business is a whole other side. I like the fact we're learning different systems that Jean's putting in place and to help make the business easier. So I think, that's key for me to set up a business, and I see it's, you got to start off and get the right people in place because it's a people business. You got to be able to work with people well.
What about you? Yeah, I think it's just learning, everyone knows it's a great concept-based business, but this class enables you to learn what you need to do, kind of have the instruction manual how to implement the business.
We've seen some of the numbers already. I've seen some of the numbers, so I'm excited about it because it's, it multiplies a lot faster than just a single family home or something like that. That's what's intriguing, and plus you're helping other people. There's going to be a huge demand for it with the baby boomers.
They want to finish with their plates. I'll get them out of their way for them.
I'm excited about it. It's going to be a huge megatrend.
There's a lot of people in this group that have a lot of special knowledge that I can pull out information from that their experience has brought. And going to see the different places again, just look with a different eye. Because when I left here the last time, since that time I've gotten under contract to buy a place, and now I have other questions since I have jumped into the fray. So seeing what's going on in the different houses and getting a better grasp of what needs to be done and seeing what's going on.
I've been investing for probably 20 years in business and stuff. This is one of the few, and I take my glasses. This is one of the newest fastest growing industries dealing with elderly. It will be the next tidal wave of investment. If you don't get in today, you'll be sorry you never did. This is the Warren Buffett, Berkshire Hathaway stock of the 2000s. It's going to take over the industry, and you do it now, or you're not going to get it done.